Thank you so much. I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but I just want to, if you can step up, I just want to bring this sister, this beautiful sister and beautiful brother forward. They were responsible for organizing and getting these brothers into the city, and I just wanted to just give them a few minutes to introduce themselves, and we'll go from there. Sister Ashley? No, sister, yes, right, Queensburg.
I'm Ashley Huntley. Thank y'all for having us today.
Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. My name is Jaheem Jordan. I'm from Mobile, Alabama, here in the city. So I'm honored, and it's both an honor and a pleasure to be able to meet these two brothers. I've been knowing Brother James Muhammad for years, since I was actually a teenager, so we go way back. And I'm thankful to be here, and thank you for having us.
Yes,
all right?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. But look, I'm really, really excited again. These are two brilliant young warriors, and I'm so thankful to Almighty God for these young brothers. You know, I know many of us are familiar with these brothers and their work on social media, but the thing that I love about these young soldiers is that they aren't just social media activists. They're actually soldiers out here on the ground putting in the work. Right. And that's, that really counts. Because see, it's easy to sit behind the iPhone and or whatnot and talk, but it's another thing altogether to actually get out and put boots on the ground in this work. And it's so important, and for me, it's so refreshing to see young brothers that are serious about this work. And these two brothers, Brother 19 Keys and Brother Ben, I'll say this and then I'll bring Brother 19 up. What I'm most impressed about is to see the level of humility and the way that these young brothers seem or appears to have their ego in check. Because it's easy as the Creator begins to exalt you, we begin to kind of see ourselves in a certain kind of way, and we can get carried away, that's right, with ourselves. So we'll talk about the Honorable Brother Minister Louis Farrakhan. He says that we should take our ego, fold it up, and put it in our back pockets, and that's where it can best serve us. Because when you look at the word ego, it's actually an axiom, if you will, for exiting God out, is what it actually means. So to see these two young brothers, not on some ego trip, but they're working in a collective manner for the enlightenment of our people. And I'm so impressed by that. So with no further ado, I would like to bring our brother up, Brother 19, Jibril Muhammad, or 19 Keys, who will introduce and bring our keynote speaker up, Brother Ben Muhammad. Help me with a round of applause and welcome our Brother 19 Keys.
Assalamu alaikum. For those who don't know, that's greeting you with peace be upon you. My name is Jibril Muhammad, and I go by 19 Keys for a reason. It was Master Fuad Muhammad that said that there's 17 million black people, original people, and there's 2 million Indians. And at the time, this was in the 30s. And he said that means that there's 19 million rusty locks, which means that there's 19 million well-oiled keys to unlock those minds or those locks. And when he's talking about key is an interchangeable word for chi or energy. The mind needs energy. Knowledge is energy. When you listen to these words, you don't see anything. The only thing that I'm giving you is energy. Sound vibrations that you listen, and it changes your pattern of thinking. See, you can have, if you look at water, right? Water is an element that takes on more forms than any other element. But the way it takes on form is just the pattern of that form changing. So it goes from solid, liquid, gas, and then there's another state. But the protons in the water, the only difference is the arrangement, the pattern changes. So what ends up happening is, if you give a person knowledge and you can change their pattern of thinking, you change their state the same way water changes states. It can go from lower states and it can go from higher states. So the goal is to give you so much energy within the mind to where you can go from a lower state of consciousness to change your pattern of thinking so that it gives you to a higher state of consciousness. So when a person has energy in the mind, that means that they have the ability to take that energy that is within, and then it becomes an action to manifest change. So I call myself a world changer, right? So that means that we may live on the same planet, but we all live in different worlds based on our perceptions, our level of understanding, our observations. When I go to sleep at night, I don't dream the same thing that you do. When I look in the mirror, I don't see the same thing. I don't even know that if you perceive color in the same manner that I do. Right. So the idea is that when we come together and we have shared knowledge, we have what we call a collective consciousness. So if you think about the black community, one thing that we're missing is a collective agenda. Right. But if our mind is consciously aware and working towards the same thing, and we're focused on the same thing, then we are manifesting the same thing. So if I can change the way you think, then I can also change your world or your worldview, right? So that's why I call myself a world changer, because it's about changing minds. And a man has a duty to produce, right? A man is an executor. But in order for him to execute, he must have the proper knowledge in order to be able to execute the goals that he wants to actually produce.
That's right.
We have a lack of masculinity, as my brother Dr. Wesley so profoundly teaches with his research. And when you think about yourself, right? I've been a soldier for a long time. You know, I've been locked up, I done fought trials, I done fought police, I done fought white boys, I done fought gangs, I done been in gangs, I done been in a lot of different situations. And when you can take that element of that FOI spirit or that street spirit and you can convert it into righteous intelligence. Because there's a difference between, a lot of people have deceptive intelligence versus righteous intelligence.
Go ahead.
Righteous intelligence is the ability to have forethought. So it's your ability to be able to think about the future, right? So when you're thinking about that, when you have righteous intelligence, it's intelligence that's backed by morals and ethics.
Go ahead.
But not everybody makes decisions with morals and ethics. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said that when a man has more intelligence than character, it can make a devil out of man.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
So it's a dangerous thing when we use our intelligence deceptively.
Go ahead.
And we become devils to ourselves. A devil is one who devalues.
Go ahead.
Right? A God adds value.
Go ahead, man.
Right? So if I'm giving you knowledge and I'm adding value to you, I'm being a God to you.
Go ahead, man.
But if I devalue you in any sense of the word, if I devalue myself, then I'm being a devil to myself.
Go ahead.
Whether I'm going in the wrong environments, I'm eating the wrong foods, I'm doing the wrong things, I'm being a devil to myself.
Go ahead.
So at all times, I would rather use my righteous intelligence in order to be a God to myself.
Go ahead.
Now, I know a lot of people may be waiting on Jesus. A lot of people may be waiting on spooks and spirits and a bunch of different things to do things for them that they're supposed to be using their righteous intelligence to do for themselves.
Go ahead, man.
A lot of people pray and they beg God or Allah to do something for them that they don't have the will or they don't have the work ethic to do for themselves.
Come on.
Which I think about that because I say that, you know, God, He made you. He brought you to life. He did His job,
That's right.
to be honest. And when you think about God, you're talking about that energy, that force, right? That force that we all wake up and we share this collective consciousness. And the thing that every day we look out in the sky, we see stars, we see moons. You know, you got to figure out who to put that up there. So the human being collectively comes in consciousness, thought that there was something that preceded, you know, their making or their creation. So they said that there was a righteous intelligence already formed into existence, so that we must come from that which we come from. So when you see this crown, Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that when you see us wearing the universe on our head and on our coat lapel, it represents our rule.
Go ahead.
So when you see a brother walking with the crown, the reason I'm wearing the crown is because I want to let you know that I have rulership over this universe.
Go ahead, man.
He said the sun and the moon and the stars, they don't have power to produce will and produce thought and things of that nature. We're the greatest work in the universe.
Go ahead.
It's the human mind to be able to take a thought and then produce it into reality.
Come on, man. Go ahead.
So what you're talking about is when you have a thought, you got to think of it like this. So this is where the 1 and 9 comes from, right? The male mind, the conscious mind, is seat of logic, right? Reason. And then the subconscious mind is the female mind, right? That's where emotion and long-term memory is stored. But see, when a sperm is about to reach the egg, the sperm has motility. That means that it can act without any outside organ to push it, right? But then the egg doesn't move at all. It stays just right there, waiting for that sperm to come along, that one, right? And then when that one that's in motion reaches that sperm, then there's a spark. And then within that spark, it creates life. But you have to think about this sperm has already an intelligence built into it, a navigation guide that's telling it exactly where to go. Right? So you are on a journey before you even get here. And you have an intelligence already engineered and built into you that's self-guided, that's telling you where to go. But where does that come from?
Come on, man. Come on.
There's an intelligence that predates you.
Come on, man.
So when you're thinking about motion, when you have a thought that's in the darkness, and all this happens in the darkness, right? All of that's great that gets produced happens in the darkness. Everything is created in that same manner. First, you have that thought, that conscious thought. So in the Holy Quran, in the first surah of the Holy Quran is Al-Fatiha, which means the key. And the key is talking about that prayer or those words that the believer is supposed to use in order to live a righteous life as a Muslim.
Come on, go ahead.
And then the ninth surah of the Holy Quran is about the disbeliever.
Come on.
Right? It's about the hypocrite. It's the only one that doesn't start with Alhamdulillah in the name of Allah.
Go ahead, man. You teach.
Right?
That's right.
So here's the thing. You can consciously know what's the right thing to do. I can consciously call myself a Muslim. I can recite those words. Right? But if my subconscious mind is that of a disbeliever,
come on, man.
Right?
Come on.
So you think about the 19th surah of the Quran is what? Maryam, the woman.
Go ahead.
So Allah told that Maryam, he said, you know, you're pregnant. Maryam's like, I ain't been touched. So how am I pregnant? He said, it was already to be.
Come on.
So when I think about that, she didn't have a choice. She was already going to be pregnant, already was going to produce. So you can say that you're a Muslim, you can say that you're righteous, you can say that you're good with your words, but that has to become a habit that you have to impregnate yourself.
Come on, man.
Because that subconscious mind can be a disbeliever.
Go ahead.
Right? But it's your nature already, whether you want it to or not. You're already a Muslim. A Muslim means one who submits his or her will to do the will of a God.
That's right.
So if it was already God's will for Maryam to be pregnant and that woman represents that subconscious mind,
come on now.
then you're already a Muslim, but you have to submit that conscious mind to the subconscious mind.
Come on,
but it has
man.
to be done over and over and over and over and over and over.
That's
So a
right.
person asks, why Muslims pray 5 times a day? That's a lot.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
But you think about environment. Environment is stronger than nature.
Come on.
So it may be your nature to be a Muslim,
Go ahead, man. Teach.
but you have to change your pattern of thinking. How do you change a pattern? How do you change a paradigm? A paradigm is your subconscious thoughts.
Go ahead.
That's not easy to change.
That's right. Go
So it
ahead.
has to be done through repetition every single day. And in an environment that's against your nature, you have to have a reminder that lines you back up with that pattern of thinking so you can get to that God consciousness.
Go ahead, man.
It was Mother Tanetta, and she was a great decoder of the number 19.
Man, come on.
And she said it was written and said that she would read the Quran at least once a week. Once a week is a lot.
Come on.
I'm gonna tell you,
Yes,
that's
sir.
a lot. I don't even know if I had that time. But when I think about that, she said what she was doing was she was syncing her mind up with the pattern of God's thinking
Go ahead.
and God consciousness. Because you got to think, if you read it every single day, and this is Allah's words, then what you're feeding your mind becomes pregnant with God's word. So the only thing that you're able to give birth to is God consciousness.
Come on, man. Come on.
So when we think that we
Go ahead.
consistently feed ourselves, you have that conscious thought, but you have to put yourself into motion. When the universe was created, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that he had a brother that was, he was speaking, he said, brother, come up here, and I want you to draw a long hyphen. And he said, I want you to cut off about 6 inches, then I want you to put a 0 on one end, and I want you to put a 0 on the other end.
Go ahead.
And he said, you have a beginning, and then you have, on the other end, you have a beginning. And he said, I want you to take the 0 off, right, on one end, and I want you to put a 1 there. And then he said, from the beginning, now you have something, you have 1, right? So he said, from nothing comes something. Now you have this 1, you have motion. That 1 represents motion. right? So if you think about the beginning of the universe, they say everything created from a singular event, a Big Bang. But it was not until motion was put into play.
Go ahead, man.
And motion represents time.
That's
So
right.
everything that stood still, in the darkness of your mind, you may stood still. But it's not until you put yourself in motion that you can produce that God consciousness.
Go ahead.
And so what ended up happening is you talking about the universe, that was, time itself, but there was no time because there was no motion. If everything in the world stood still and we froze, there's nothing to measure.
Go ahead. That's right.
So
That's
if
right.
there's a universe where everything is frozen and there's nothing to measure, but then God, the self-created, the atom, the atom represents God, that intelligence. Where do you think that sperm comes from? It comes from
Come
an
on,
atom.
that's right. Go ahead.
Everything in the world is built off vibration, right? Those atoms, they have that intelligence built into it. So when you're thinking about the darkness, that triple darkness that everything comes from, the universe was one womb.
Go ahead. That's right.
And it was that consciousness. God represents that consciousness.
That's right.
And once that motion was put into play, then that consciousness set out to where it produced what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad called more ones.
Go ahead.
Right? He said that the 1 through the 9 just represents more ones.
Go ahead.
Right? And so the 1 being the single lowest digit number and the 9 being the highest digit number. But if you want to understand Allah or you want to understand God, you have to have the full knowledge of the 1 between the 9. So that from which we first started with motion and everything else that was created from that Big Bang.
Go ahead.
And if you add that up, when you understand things on an atomic level, and then you're able to understand how things happen in our reality. So studies, with physics, they study, the atom, and it allows them to understand what happens in reality. So Dr. Wesley talked about, he said the atom, can become either negative or positive.
Go ahead. That's right.
Right?
Go ahead.
So, but it depends on the development of that atom. If you take on more of a positive charge, then you become positive.
That's right.
If you come on a negative charge, then you can become negative. So in life, if we take on more of the positive consciousness, right? If we take on more positive attributes, then we vibrate in that positive God consciousness. But it depends on what you feed yourself.
That's right.
And it also depends on if you're going to go through that pain, because when you're talking about birth, you're talking about going through pain.
That's right. Go
And
ahead.
a lot of people may be going through situations. A lot of people may be going through anxiety. A lot of people may have thoughts that they want to produce into reality, but they procrastinate because of the pain. So that consciousness, that thought that they have never actually gets produced and brought to light.
Come on, man. You teach.
So you have to think about how you talking about, it's God created himself. You talking about that had to be a painful process. Just
Come
the
on.
thought of having to
That's
produce
right.
self.
Come on,
So
man.
you're talking about coming from nothing, and a lot of us, we come from nothing.
That's right. Go
It's a
ahead.
painful process thinking about having a vision of something that we wanted to create, coming from nothing, not having any resource, not having any tools, not having anything, but you do have everything already. You have a mind.
That's right. Go ahead.
And from the mind, if you're able to envision and you have an imagination, it can be stronger than knowledge.
That's right.
Because you may not know how you're going to produce the vision, but the imagination will drive the will to do the work. It will push you in motion.
That's right.
And
Go
as
ahead.
you're in motion, what happens when you're in motion?
Go ahead.
Right? The woman gets sick when she gets pregnant a lot of times. Right?
Go ahead.
So, she's like, damn, I don't know. I'm thinking about aborting this baby. You know what I
Come on,
mean?
go ahead.
But she has to go through that, from that one spark of inception, she has to go through those 9 months.
That's right. Go ahead.
From that 1 through 9, she has to go through that pain, and then from that one part of that pain where it gets more painful, her body first gives her contractions and lets her know that you got to prepare yourself. It's going to be painful.
Come on.
And along that journey, when you have a conscious thought to bring something into reality, you going through different motions. You have people that's negative to you. This idea ain't that. Or you gotta register all of this work for this business. You gotta do so many different things. That's painful.
Come on, man. Come on.
You say, no way, I might abort this idea. That's too much of a big vision. My mind was too pregnant.
Come on.
I was tripping, man. Let me go think of something of a lower thought.
Come on, man.
So as you work it and you produce it and you putting yourself in motion and you go through the sickness, you go through the negativity, and your body it becomes even worse the closer you get. So you said, man, I thought this was supposed to be easy.
Come on, man. You teach.
No, being a Muslim is not easy. Being a righteous individual in a devilish world is not an easy thing to do.
Come on, man.
When you out, you gotta think about this. I got probably about 100,000 followers on social media. And with that, a person can be able to take and get corporate sponsorships and, get money and different things of that nature. But that's a person that's just doing it based off entertainment.
Come on, man.
They just doing it something just fun, just throwing up there. They throw corporate sponsorships at me. But when you're doing something righteous, they call it controversial. So it's much harder to put out a righteous message than it is just a deceptive or entertaining message.
Come on, man. Come on.
And as you go through this process, it becomes a little painful because you see the other people who are able to easily obtain those accreditations, easily obtain those money, easily obtain those sponsorships and things of that nature that allow them to fund their journey.
Come on, man.
So you said, damn, when I was first pregnant with this idea, I thought it was going to come along with all these different things. And then I realized this is a painful journey. This is a sacrificing journey.
That's right.
But in order for me to birth those results, I have to push past pain to get to productivity. So it don't matter how painful it goes, through the pain and degrees, it lets me know that I'm going to become more powerful. Because if I'm able to produce that baby, and that baby through that crowning, and I walk around, and it's funny, I called them crownings before I knew that part where the woman gets pregnant and pushing the head out. I didn't know that they called it a crown.
Go ahead. That's right.
And then I read that, I said, okay, I see what we're doing here.
Come on.
So as we walking around and you have this idea, you have this thought that you want to produce, you have to push past the pain even though it's hard.
Come on, man.
But the pain is what lets you know that you're powerful.
That's right. Go ahead.
Dr. Wesley shared something with me, and he said that when you are able to go through the snake pit and you're able to come out the other side, that's what makes you a God. But he said that, but why though, right? You're able to go through the snake, that's a tough trial and tribulation. You're able to go through this darkness of this snake pit, through the jealousy, through the envy, through the hardships, through the vice, through the poisons, and you're able to come out, you're still alive, you become a God.
Come on, man. Come on.
But here's the thing about that. If you remove the snakes out the pit and you just walk through, there's no trial in it.
Come on, man.
How do you know you're a God if you don't go through
Ain't no
anything?
growth in that. That's right.
We call ourselves gods, but how can you be a God if you can't produce? How can you be a God if you don't have creativity? How can you be a God if you don't have knowledge?
Go ahead.
Knowledge. You have to feed your mind. Your mind has to be pregnant. When a person is pregnant and we see them, we get a little more careful with them, right?
That's right. Go ahead.
That's just pregnant.
Go ahead.
And your mind is pregnant with an idea, we have to be careful with each other. We have to feed that to make sure that the environment is conducive so that the pregnancy can come out correctly.
Come on, man.
You understand me? So when we feed each other positivity, we allow the charge of that body vibration to produce a beautiful baby.
Come on, man.
But see, what you can do when a woman is pregnant is dangerous.
Go ahead.
Because they say when a woman, eats junk food, then the baby will grow up to eat junk food.
That's right.
That the baby actually can taste what you put in your mouth through the amniotic fluid,
That's
through
right.
the nose and through the mouth.
Come on.
So there are actually neurosciences that target pregnant women so that they can get them to eat their products when they later, become
Come
older.
on, man. I already said it, baby.
So when they listening to music and all of these different things, those vibrations are all getting into the baby.
Come on, man.
So that's the same thing when you have a thought in your mind. You have an idea that you want to produce. All of that is getting to your... Brother, I don't think that's a good idea, bro. I don't know. That's going to take too long to produce. Oh, you ain't got no money for that.
Come on,
all of
man.
these things is messing up your pregnancy.
Come on, man.
All of these different things. And you allow those people in your environment. You allow those foods that you eat in your environment to rob you of that electrical activity that you're going to need in order to give birth, in order to push past that pain.
Come on, man.
So if I'm working out, and I start off, people always ask me, how you so positive? Because I learned how to go through pain.
Go ahead.
The same thing when you pick up a weight, you're picking up a negative weight against positivity.
That's right.
So when I first started off, I couldn't do the 30. That was hard. But as I go in there more and more, then the 30s become light. That was easy. But at first, that negativity felt heavy to me.
Resistance. That's
But
right.
the more negativity I go through, the lighter it becomes, the easier it becomes. So now I'm looking to pick up more negativity. Let me see how much more I can handle.
Come on, man.
So therefore, I'm positive because I done been through so much negative.
Go ahead.
I can go through the light because I done been through the darkness.
Go ahead.
But if you never been through anything, then how does it qualify you to be a God?
Come on, man. Come on.
So when your mind is pregnant and you're able to birth, not only when you birth something, you have to what? Learn how to take care of the baby.
That's right.
They say it take about 10 years to grow a business. You never know about not one 10-year-old that became a legend.
Come on.
You understand me? You don't know no 9-year-old, 3-year-old, 5-year-old legends. It takes time.
That's right.
You have to go through something. You have to qualify yourself. You have to at least be there for a decade. And a lot of us can't stay focused. See, when you are able to concentrate, you're able to focus on something for a long period of time. And social media is always taking our focus. It's distracting us. It's taking us away from our goal. We either drift to the left or we drift to right.
Come on.
But you have to stay focused, regardless of what happens. But see, what happens when we on this phone, we're consuming content. Meaning that whatever we consuming is thinking for us.
Come on, man. Come on.
So when it's time for us to make those decisions, we're making it based off what we consumed. And you only have a finite amount of energy for decision making, for great decision making power per day. But if your mind is distracted most of the day, then it's sucking all of that energy out. So what ends up happening is you either make no decision or a bad decision. So they say it's better to see the judge earlier in the day. Why? Because earlier in the day, the judge is making better decisions. He letting more felons off of probation. But they say later in the day, the judge is usually, giving you more time, or they're just going to say, you know what, we're going to put your case on the docket later.
Come on.
So when you think about that, the human being, let's say you get dressed, you should have your stuff prepared the day before. You don't want to make those decisions in the morning. You want to be able to save that energy for better decision-making power. But see, we don't study ourselves. And if you don't study yourself and you have to think about the things that you do every day, we drink water every day, we eat food every day, we are 99% water, yet we don't study water.
Come on, man.
We consume content, yet we don't study it. All of these things that we don't study, that means that we lack the proper knowledge to have power over that because we have a lack of awareness. So that ignorance is that gap in knowledge. And I'm going to leave you with this. The same way that you become a God is the same way you can also become a devil.
That's right. Go ahead.
So you have to look at yourself and your current circumstances and ask, the way am I doing things? Is it based off how God would do it? Is it based off how the devil would do it?
Come on now.
So when you're operating within that deceptive intelligence and your mind is more pregnant with the devil's thoughts, then you become a devil. But if you operate in that God intelligence, that righteous intelligence, then that's when you become a God. Right? I'll give you an example, a very small example. I remember when my cousin was trying to sell me something, right? And I asked him for a discount. We like to ask for discounts. Save some money.
Right.
So, but the thing was, I realized in that moment I devalued him.
Go ahead, that's right.
So I caught myself. I said, wait a minute. I'm using deceptive intelligence.
Come on.
You know what I mean? So I said, you know what? I'm going to give you an extra $5. Because then I'm adding value to it.
Go ahead, man. Teach
And oftentimes we don't like to add value to the people that's around us.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
When you add value, I'm being a God, so you're doing good for you. But if I'm taking value away from that you value yourself, then I'm being a devil to you.
Go ahead.
So I don't want to use my deceptive intelligence because it robs me of great character.
Go ahead.
And people remember how you make them feel. Even if you get over them, they're going to remember how you made them feel. Legend is an energy that never dies. The reason that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is still alive because we vibrate his consciousness through our awareness of the knowledge that he left behind.
Come on.
It wasn't just that he the man in his stature and things of that nature. It was about the knowledge and the message that he gave was the truth. It was the frequency of truth.
Come on, man.
And so what we do is we protect that truth and we continue to perpetuate that truth. We don't worship the man, we worship the knowledge that the man gave because he got his knowledge from God himself. So when you become a truth seeker, you look for truth regardless of where it comes from. What's the vessel? But you have to have righteous intelligence to be able to decipher what that truth is, which is the reason that a lot of us don't know, how to decipher the Bible. It has a lot of truth in it, but they've added a lot of falsehood.
That's right. Go ahead.
And the Holy Quran is protected by what they call the number 19.
Go ahead.
So they did a study that the Quran has a frequency to where they can see the arithmetic that certain surahs and verses and things of that nature add up to the number 19.
Go ahead.
And it was a brother by the name of Rashad Khalifa. He worked with Mother Tanetta. And basically what ended up happening was the scribers that was retranslating the Quran, they asked, and one of the scribers asked, can we add this verse in there? And it was about the Prophet Muhammad. And so they was like, yeah, it's a beautiful verse. And it was basically giving Prophet Muhammad praise, and then it was talking about, giving praise to Allah, things of that nature. And what they ended up finding in 1974, when he ran the mathematical arithmetic of the Quran through this supercomputer, they was able to understand that it had a mathematical function within it. Mm-hmm. And what he found out was that that verse that they added in, it actually caused a disruption, right? Mm-hmm. Because what it ended up doing is it had a lot of people worshiping Prophet Muhammad instead of Allah. Mm-hmm. And so what you have today is you have Mohammedans, right? You got the Sunnis and the Shiites against each other, things of that nature. And what it happens is a lot of people worship Prophet Muhammad, but they don't worship Allah.
Come on.
And so when you think about that and you talk about personality worship and worshiping a man, you also end up interpreting the knowledge based on the character and the faults of the man, instead of just looking at the knowledge itself.
Go ahead, man.
A person can give you great information, but that don't mean that they follow it. So you have to have the intelligence to be able to decipher the difference. To be able to say, I'm going to take the truth, but I'm not going to take the falsehood. My older brother used to tell me some stuff that was good sometimes, some stuff that was negative. I said, I'm only going to take the good. But once you have a mind that learns to decipher that and you don't worship the man that gives you the message, you just take the truth, then that means that you're just following God that's within that man. Because the man can have God and the devil within himself at the same time.
Come on.
So when you listen, you have to listen for God.
Come on.
And then you also have to have your mind keen to where you're not worshiping this man. So when you hear the devil, okay, that's what my brother being devalued. You know, he's using that deceptive intelligence now. You understand me? But once you get that power of discernment, then that's when you are able to stream nothing but godliness, nothing but God consciousness from your environment, every single place. I don't care if it's a homeless person on the street and he's telling you truth. You have to learn how to take that truth and seek that truth everywhere you find it. Because when that one brother added that extra passage into the Quran, it threw off the whole truth. And when you add one thing in there, you're no longer protected by the truth. And what had happened is there was a war that ensued. Some of Prophet Muhammad family ended up dying from it. And today you have these Mohammedans and you have a split and a rift, and all of that happened from a person interjecting some falsehood. But then, of course, they ended up taking it out and they created a new translation with it out existing in there. So the problem is when you add something of your own and you add deceptive intelligence in there, then it's no longer protected by that truth being passed down. So the reason I like to go by the 19 keys, because it's more so about just taking the energy of truth and the reality and using that to feed yourself so that you continuously tap into that God consciousness. So my brother Ben, you know, I admire my brother Ben because he's just started a few years ago.
That's right.
Right? And me being a nation baby, I started, you know, at birth. I was told I was a God from day one.
Come on, go ahead.
and when you're born in the nation, a lot of times is that you can kind of get used to the teachings. And they no longer have that spark of enthusiasm where I want to learn more and more and more and more and more and more and more. And you think you know something. You get comfortable, you become content.
Come on, man. Come on.
And what ended up happening is you got a lot of people that's been around for a long time.
Yes, sir.
But the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said at the meat comes God.
Come on.
At the meat comes the executors.
Come on.
Which means that you're supposed to become the teachings.
Come on,
you're supposed to take
right.
the same message that he got with his low education.
Come on,
he
man.
took that knowledge, he used it. He was able to build up business. He was able to build up nations. He was able to build up men. He was able to make the blind see. He was able to make the deaf hear. He was able to make the dumb intelligent.
Go ahead.
So you're supposed to have that same ability if you take the message and you execute with it. But a lot of people have it as if the message makes them better. No, the execution of the knowledge makes you better.
Come on, man. That's real.
So my brother Ben, he takes the knowledge and he executes.
Go ahead.
He didn't say, no, I'm better because I got it. No, I'm better because I do it.
That's right. Go ahead.
Right? When you do it, that's what makes you who you are. We have the sun, right? The sun shines, but Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that after a while, the sunlight only reaches so much. But he said that's what they made the other stars for.
Go ahead.
So the other stars are to be able to continue to light up the universe when the light is absent from the sun.
Come on.
So it's not enough to just have the honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan as a sun. What about in areas where there's darkness? You have to be that star.
Come on, man. Come on. You teach me, man. Come on. That's good stuff.
You have to be that key in individuals' lives to where they have nobody giving them self-awareness. They have nobody giving them knowledge. They have nobody telling them that they have limitless and godly potential to be able to manifest everything that's within their mind and bring it and produce it into reality. Not everybody's going to tell them they're God. Some people are still stuck in the darkness believing that there's a white God that they're waiting on, the white Jesus that they're waiting on. So my brother Ben, he's been able to be a light and a shining star for a lot of those people that's been stuck in darkness.
Come on.
And those who have seen the sun, right? But then, you know, they went back into the darkness.
Come on.
Those who have become used to the light.
Come on. That's right.
See, when you become used to the light, you sort of get blinded by it a little bit.
That's right.
And it's not until you can see it reaching in places that you're not even there and say, damn, well, that light must be bright.
Come on, man.
And you was around it the whole time.
Come on, that's right.
You understand me? But when you see other people see it, you're like, you know what? That is a bright light, huh?
Come on.
You're right. And then you become impressed by it again.
Come on now.
So Brother Ben is able to reach places far beyond where there was darkness in the mind of the people using this tool of social media, because the internet was created as a tool for communication.
That's right.
But what you communicate, that's up to you. What you communicate talks about what's in your mind, right? The mind, what the mouth uses represents what the mind is. What the hands do represents what's in the mind. So what my brother does is, he takes what is in the mind from the consciousness that he get from the teachers, and he's only a baby in it. He's only been in it for a little while. But he said that, damn, if this is reaching light within my mind in places that was in the dark, then I have to take this same knowledge and reach other people so that I can be a star, because I haven't got the light from the sun, but I take the energy from the sun, and then I reach places that I know that the sun ain't getting to.
Go ahead, man.
So that, as you hear my brother speak, the thing that you have to realize about us is that we you.
Go ahead.
Anything that you see as a proof lets you know that it can be done.
Go ahead, that's right.
Before the first person ran a mile, they thought under, like, I forgot what the record was, 4 minutes, they thought it was impossible.
That's right.
And one brother did it. Then after that, everybody started breaking the record.
That's right, come on.
So the thing is that once until we see it done, a lot of times we don't think it's possible.
Go ahead.
Right? But when you see a brother become rich and righteous,
Come on.
you understand me? You see a brother become conscious and wealthy.
Go ahead.
You understand me? You see a brother become enlightened and a brother a celebrity. And you say, damn, it's possible.
Go ahead.
But at first I didn't think it was possible because I didn't see it get done.
Go
And that's
ahead.
what paradigms get stuck in.
Go
You get
ahead.
stuck in that cultivation of habits, and anything out your comfort zone, anything out your habits, you don't want to do.
Go ahead.
So as you see us, I want you all to become pregnant with this consciousness, pregnant with this impression, pregnant with this knowledge, and I want you all to produce the same results and become stars and become keys in places that other individuals don't have that light. Wherever there's ignorance, you have the duty to
Come on,
produce
man.
knowledge.
Come on, man. That's tough.
So without further ado, I want to bring up this young fireball.
That's
You understand
right.
me?
Go ahead.
This key in the lives of individuals. You understand me? Where the sun is not reaching, where the light is not reaching. We got our brother Ben X that's coming up here, and he's going to teach about our rise and their demise.
Praise
That's Ooh, he lit it up, didn't he?
Yes, sir.
Can y'all please give a brother another round of applause? In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness there is no God but Allah, who appeared to us in the person of Master Father Muhammad, who came 9,000 miles from paradise. What a sacrifice that is, because some of us had a little hard time coming 10 minutes down the street today. He came all the way out here to save those who was lost and make the tail once again the head. So I'm forever grateful for Master Father Muhammad and for him raising up in our midst the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who Brother Jibril thoroughly taught you about, who I believe is the exalted Christ in our midst as well. He said he was taken out the junk pile, cleaned up and put back on top of the junk pile so he can be an example for us all. You know, he had a 3rd grade education, as Brother 19 Keys said as well, and you know, some of us got these good master degrees.
Come on now.
The BS degrees.
Yes, I go ahead.
Yeah, the BS degrees.
Yes, sir.
And we got the PhDs, and these are supposed to be doctor degrees, but he said we ain't healing nothing.
Come on.
We master degrees, but we masters really of nothing. So I say he got a 3rd grade, he had a 3rd grade education, and we got the degrees, but we have not went to the degree that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad did in giving life to the dead.
Come on,
if it
man.
wasn't for him, we wouldn't even know who the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is.
Come on, man.
The man who called for 1 million men, not for a Jay-Z concert,
Come on, man.
not for a rap concert, but he
That's
called
right.
1 million men to come and atone. He called 1 million men to come and be men again, because we know our women is very important, but our women are tired of being the head.
Come on, man.
Our women are tired of being the ones who are the lead. And the Bible says that the woman is the helpmeet. The minister said, a woman can't help you do nothing.
That's right.
Let me slow it down for the sisters.
Come on.
I'm not saying you can't help him do nothing, but if the man don't have nothing on the agenda,
Come on.
if the man don't have a vision or a plan, you can't help him do that.
That's
He
right.
might as well stay there by himself.
That's right, go ahead.
And so for the woman, they want to see a man that has testosterone. They want to see a man that is there leading the charge, because that is something that is very important. And the man is that backbone, and she is the subconscious mind. He is that conscious mind. So whatever the man, really ain't thinking about, that's what a woman come in at. You know what I'm talking about, sisters. You know when your man, he always asking you where the keys at. Always asking you where the phone at. But y'all know where everything is, because y'all a little bit more detailed than us. So I didn't get a chance to see the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I didn't get a chance to see the Honorable, Master Farah Muhammad. However, I did get a chance to meet the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and I met those two through him. And I would like to greet you all with the greeting words of peace in their names. We say in the Arabic language of Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam, sir.
Now for those who this is your first time, we didn't cuss you out in a foreign language or anything like that. That simply means peace be unto you.
That's right, go ahead.
So I wanted to talk about a little bit how I came into the Nation of Islam. As he said, I've only been in the Nation of Islam about 3 years, going on 4 years. I came in around the Million Man March in 2015, the 20th anniversary. I was an ex-basketball player. I was an All-American basketball player in college, and I thought I was going to be playing basketball until probably the minister's age. I picked up the basketball at the age of 2 years old, and I just fell in love with it. That was my thing. I fell in love with videography as well when I got to middle school. So a brother came and spoke at my school at Cedar Valley College about the role of the male and the female. And he was actually talking about what I was just talking about, how the man is the head and the woman is there to be the helpmeet and things of that nature. Because you see how we growing up today, a lot of our children is going to somebody's school who don't really care about us. And that's one of the things that he really touched on, because he said, how can we teach our children to have manners? How can we teach our children to have principles? How can we teach our children that we want them to grow up righteous, that we drop them off at the devil's school 7 to 8 hours a day?
Come on, man. Come on.
These are things we have to really ask ourselves, and what has to happen with the men, we have to be able to have enough force and power as a man to create that environment for the women to do what they're supposed to do. It's stressful on a woman to have 2 jobs or even one job and have the job that she has of raising the children.
Right.
To me, that's one of the greatest jobs that we can have. We can talk about building businesses, we can talk about building schools, but I believe building up our children is the greatest thing that we can do, because they are truly our future, and they are the ones who are going to run the businesses. They are the ones who are going to run the schools, so it's important for us as men to create the environment for the sisters to be able to do that. So he taught us about that, so I asked him to become my mentor. And when I asked him to become my mentor, he was already into entrepreneurship. All of his children, because of the teachings, graduated at the ages of 14 and 15. They was already in college by the age of 15 and 16. They already had their own school, already had their own restaurant they was working on. And so that was impressive to me, because he wasn't just a speaker of the word, he was a doer of the word.
Come on, man.
See, it said the word was God, and then it said the word became flesh.
That's right.
So we can talk about it for a little while, but we're gonna have to see some flesh after a while. We can keep saying we God's kings and queens after a while, but now we got to see how we God's kings and queens after men. We got to see that, that manifestation. So the brother, I related to him a lot. And when I was in high school and middle school, I didn't sell weed or drug, but I was flipping hot Cheetos and honey buns. My mama used to go get them big boxes of candy and Gatorades at Sam's, and I'd be at the school. They think Brother being smart with these book bags. Now it's really just a whole bunch of merchandise and products I got that I'm flipping in school. So I was hustling back in school. So the brother invited me to the study group, and when I came to the study group, one brother who really influenced me to come into the Nation of Islam was Brother Muhammad Ali. Because again, I was an athlete in his time in the Nation of Islam. He was an athlete, he was humorous, he still had a personality, but he wasn't scared to speak that truth right to the white man's face. He don't care who he was talking to, what interview he was on, he always spoke truth, and that really attracted me, because during that time was the time of what must be done. And I'm coming out from basketball, man. I don't know nothing about no wars overseas. I don't know nothing about none of that the minister was talking about. But when I went to look at his lectures, when I looked at the minister's lecture, that's when he answered a lot of my questions. He started to answer my questions about God. He started to answer my questions about Jesus. He started to answer my questions about, you know, the Bible. You know how many of y'all ever had MySpace before? Raise your hand. Y'all know on MySpace when it says, what's your favorite book? We always put the Bible. I ain't read 2 chapters out the Bible. Talking about that's your favorite book. So Brother Nuri said, what Brother Nuri say? He say, we go by the Bible, we don't go in the Bible. Because you know, a lot of people like to say, I go by the Bible. Yeah, you go by it, all right. You ain't open up. You know how you go to some of your auntie house, they always on the table, got the Bible open, be dusted in the mud. I ain't read it in 2 years, man. So when I came into the Nation of Islam, man, what really attracted me is how they broke down the reality of things. They broke out all this spookism that we had. They made me stop believing the snake was talking. They made me stop believing the donkey was talking. They broke me out of that heaven in the sky, sweet by and by after we die. We're going to get into that a little bit later because I know some of us still, you know, believe in that. But they broke me out of that. He told me that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad says 75% of the scripture is prophecy and only 25% of it is history. So when we become conscious, you know, some of us, you know, that was fairy tale, man. Ain't nothing like that happened, man, back in the day. Well, you're right. That didn't happen back in the day. That is a prophecy of what we're going through today. So even when you look at Judas, you may not go find a Judas necessarily in the grave, but you can find it in your brother. You may not go find a Cain or an Abel in the grave, but you can find it in your brother. How many of y'all have been able to accomplish something? Able to grow, able to succeed, and then you got this Cain in your brother that wanted to kill you. You got this Cain in your brother that's jealous. You got this Cain in your brother that... And look at the thing. All they had to do was ask God why you chose him and then not me. But some of us are the same way. We ain't even asking no questions. We just killing our own brother because he succeeded. Look at Jesus. When you look at the Judas, when you got a brother who raised up in your midst that's giving life to the dead. When you got a brother who's raising up in your midst who's giving sight to the blind, making the deaf hear, making the dumb speak. Now you got a Judas who's going to be envious of you. Come on now. But this Judas may look just like you. So man, that stuff all made sense, you know, when I thought about it. Even when you look at, now I ain't going to get to that yet. We're going to get to that in the lecture. But he broke down the reality of God. So I thought God was this, I had a dream that God was like a green ball of energy. Man, you know, I thought, you know, God was some sky daddy in the sky. He just, I want you to be poor. I want you to be rich. But even the Bible, when I looked into it, it said that he dwells in you. It said God is spirit. It said worship God in spirit and in truth. Now, we always leave out the in truth part. Because the truth is, spirit isn't independent of material. Come on now. So you have to see somebody's spirit by looking at the material thing. Y'all do it every day. Boy, he look like he got a bad spirit, don't he? Come on. Boy, he got a funky spirit. But you have to see something to know what the spirit was like. So God is within. So Brother Wesley breaks down, as Brother 19 Keys talks about as well, that God is a being with force and power. Come on. I'm going to say that again. Go ahead, man. God is a being with force and power. The same way God says be and it is, y'all can do the same thing. Right. Let me break it down for the brothers. Right. Y'all know, brothers, y'all had that thought in your mind. Whew, she done called me over there, but I ain't got no way to get over there. I ain't got no car. We gonna bring up some ways to make these things happen. We gonna call all of our homeboys. We finna find somebody bike to ride over there. But it kind of makes me think that we can find ways to overcome any and everything when it's something that we want. But when it's something that we need, we not this creative no more. So you gotta understand, we already gods. You just gotta see how we able to do it. So when it's something that we really want to do, we gotta find a way to go do it, and we actually do that. But when it comes, like people always say, man, you just have to do what you gotta do. I have to do what I gotta do. Well, you always gotta do what you gotta do when it's negative. You have to rob him. You had to rob him. You had to kill him. What about having to do what you gotta do? It may be getting a job. Because we say that I'm getting a job just so I can protect my family and provide for my family, but are you really doing that? What about if you get caught? What's your family gonna feel like now? And there's some brothers in the jail who I've talked to before who said, man, we getting paid 45 cents a day. If I was out there, man, I'd rather work at McDonald's than do this. So we have to sacrifice ourselves, man. So one thing I wanted to talk about before I got into that heavily is what I do on social media. Y'all know I have over, well, if y'all don't know, I have over 500 million views on social media. And when I came into the Nation of Islam, my parents did not like it. You know, we grew up Baptist. You know, everybody, that's the normal thing that you coming up Baptist. You know, you go to church on Easter. Not every Sunday, but we gonna make sure we going on Easter. Make sure we got a new suit for Easter. You know, things of that nature. And so when I came in, they believed the propaganda. They believed that, oh, you know, the Muslims gonna get you killed, or I heard things like, oh, you ain't eating pork no more, cause y'all know, Brother Ben, you know, I'm not that self-righteous guy. I'm not gonna force nothing on y'all, because you better believe Brother Ben, unfortunately, was eating chitlins with hot sauce, just like some of y'all know. And I'm from the South too. You know, chilling with hot sauce. I was eating pig in the blankets. I ain't doing it now, but I understand what y'all were going through. So once I'm making my transition, I started listening to the minister. They started telling me I couldn't listen to the minister in the house, number one. Then guess what they told me? After, you know, cause they not Muslim. I'm turning Muslim. So when I see the pork and the sausage, I'm thinking, nah, I can't eat that. You know what they told me? Well, you better go eat at Farrakhan's house. You ain't gonna be eating up in there. So I'm like, dang, man, and it's crazy because, you know, even the Bible talks about not eating pork and things of that nature, you know, not eating from the pig and thing. But why is it whenever you trying to clean up, they make you think like you crazy? You done start smoking, you drinking water. Damn, what's wrong with you, buddy? You ain't smoking no more? Man, you ain't drinking no more? Like, you the one in the wrong. So what I do, family, when it comes to social media, man, these same ones who was real hard on me, family members, friends, things of the nature, they thought I done really threw my whole life away because I quit basketball. What I've been shown is that I could have been big in basketball. I could have had a lot of influence in basketball, but I'm a lot more influential doing what I'm doing right now. I've reached a lot more people doing what I'm doing right now because of the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and by the grace of God, the same ones who was cussing me out, guess what, are the same ones sharing my videos now with their friends on social media. So man, that's just that's a blessing. One of the things that I actually do as a cheat sheet, and some of the brothers and the sisters can use this as well. Oh, I didn't know I was in there. Can do this as well. What I do is I actually read the minds of the people. Anybody got Facebook in here? Raise your hand. Do anybody know consciously what it says before you make a post? What it asks you? What's on your mind? It asks you what's on your mind. So if we got the answers, what I do, I go on Facebook and I'm scrolling. Man, this nigga get on my nerve. He ain't paying nobody bills. That nigga here, he hating on me. You know, they jealous. So I'm looking at everybody's mindset. And I go find the teachers. I go find what a minister's talking about it, and I post it. And guess what they do? Oh my God, this is right on time. Oh, this is a coincidence. So all we have to do is read the minds of our people. Instead of us looking at them talking about, boy, these niggas crazy, look at the lost founds. If we're supposed to be redeemers, that condition is really on me. I was in Chicago one time, and you know, some of us who are alive now always talking about the dead, they lost. Well, she said, well, it may be that you dead as well because you ain't got enough light in you to shine on them to wake them up. And like Brother Malcolm said, we got to feed them, we got to feed them like babies. If they are babies in knowledge, we got to feed them milk. We can't feed them steak. As Brother 19 Keys said, man, if I'm asleep, and I've been asleep for 400 years as a black man, and you come on in here and you bring this big flashlight and you trying to wake me up, if it's too bright in my eyes, what happens if it's too bright in my eyes? I'm going to be blind, right? But if you don't give me no knowledge, I'm still going to be blind. So you got to build me up step by step, just like y'all had to be built up step by step. So we have to be patient. So Brother Malcolm actually said, don't be so quick to condemn your brother because he doesn't think like you or as fast, because there was a time when you didn't know what you know. Right. So how can I start acting like I have arrived now and everybody else is done? So we have to be strategic in our resurrection of the people. And that has to be our sole purpose. Because sometimes, you have vanity. Sometimes they have you thinking you God. Some of the people, once we taught that we the Asiatic black man to make it the honor, the cream of the planet Earth, we get to thinking we God, like can't nobody tell us nothing. So we have to be very strategic and humble, as the brother says. So it says in the scripture, he who humbles himself will be exalted, but he exalting himself will be humbled. And we've seen that several times. Brothers be homeless talking about I'm God. Okay, yeah, you God. You a potential God. But hey, that's going to come with some characteristics. That's going to come with some work. God ain't just no beggar. God is a producer. So if we ain't producing nothing, all right then. So the minister said, living people talk about what they're doing. Dead people talk about what they used to do. Come on. So we got to be active. So as we just said, y'all heard me say God came in the person
of Master Prophet Muhammad. Now, when I came into the Nation of Islam, I had no idea what that meant. As I told y'all, I was Christianized. I'm thinking God's somewhere in the sky, right? But I didn't let my misunderstanding or not understanding stop my growth. I just moved based on what I already knew. And as I moved based on what I already knew, that revelation became to come. So I want to break that down for you guys today as well so you can get an understanding. Because I had no idea how that was possible, how God, can come in man. Even though the Bible at the time does say, ye are all gods, children of the Most High God. This is what Jesus said. But, they didn't teach us that. So it says, the minister said, there's a world that is seen and a world that is unseen. Everything that you see is related to something unseen. He said one time, thoughts are the real thing, not necessarily what we see. So I'm speaking into somebody's mind. All of y'all that got clothes on, you wearing somebody's mind. This podium right here is from somebody's mind. Y'all understand what I'm saying when I say that? Because everything started from the triple darkness of our mind. The same way Brother 19 Keys talked about how we were born in the mother's womb. That triple darkness of the mother's womb, that's how we are developed. That's how we are formed. This is how ideas as well is formed in the triple darkness of our mindsets. So everything that we see, everything that we accomplish, it had to start with a thought in our mind. In fact, the minister said every action is led by a conscious thought. So we have to really realize that when you're looking at the God, and it says that God is a producer, you are first producing in your mind first before it comes into full manifestation. That's why our thoughts are so powerful. That's why people talk about the secret, the law of attraction. And we should be thinking about things that we do want, not things that we don't want. Some of us put so much energy into things we don't want. That's actually what we manifesting. And we're in the same thing over and over and over again, wondering why. Because we're not focusing on the thing that we really want. Right. So he said be, and it is. This be is the thought that he had in his mind that he wanted to happen. And then he didn't just say be abracadabra. He put works and stuff together. And so when we look at the Bible and it says 6 days, that may not mean 6 days. It may be 6 trillion. It may be trillions of years. It may take time. So some of us, we're not really patient with ourselves. If it took God trillions of years to do some of these things, why you think it's going to take you 6 days? Why you think, even if it was so-called 6 days, some of us don't even give ourselves 2 days. I want to start me a business. You make a post on Instagram, only one person like you, say, man, I ain't really good at this social media thing. So we got to be patient with ourselves, brothers. That's what I'm trying to say. So the minister said, everything that is seen is manifested from something that is unseen. He said he said the seen makes you think about that which is unseen. So when you look at the sun, it makes you think, what is the power behind the sun? When you look at the planets, he said they're not upheld by pillars. He said it makes you want to think about that which is unseen, even our own lives. Our own lives, there is something that drives us. There's a spirit that drives us. And when you look at the etymology of the spirit, it simply means breath. So he breathed into us. So much so the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said the biggest soul we have is the breath. So once that is, he said there's not no little man living inside of us. He said once that thing is not able to come in us, that's what makes us dead.
That's right.
That's the reality of it, not no spookism.
That's right, come on.
And I wanted to talk about NBA Youngboy a little bit because I was looking at one of his interviews and he said start focusing on music instead of trying to make music and live that lifestyle. And that was very important for me because it kind of talks about that thought and about how everything starts with a thought. And I want to break that down with Jesus and Moses as well. When you look at Moses did what when he seen them sinning? He said he stoned them, right?
That's right.
Well, Jesus said it's not necessarily when you catch them or when they do it, it's when they think the thought.
That's right.
So even if you think about it, you have already sinned. What did Jesus know? He knew that all you need is the thought, and like I said before, every action is led by a conscious thought. So yes, the Bible says, be ye transformed by what? The renewing of our mind. It said, as a man thinketh, so is he. So when Jesus is telling you, when you think the thought, you have already sinned, because now all you need is the circumstance. All you need is the situation to make it happen. Then because it's already in your mind, that's actually the act that you're going to commit. So some people, you may see a brother get shot at 6 o'clock, but he really got shot at 1 o'clock when a brother made it up in his mind that he was going to kill him.
Come on, man.
They call it premeditated. That's what they call it. So some of us have to control our thoughts, man. That's what leads to different actions. It's 11:11. I seen Us yesterday. It's 11:11 right now. So, anyways.
Don't get spooky now.
But let me look at this. Let me show you what the minister said. The minister said the law of God is not made for the righteous, nor is the law of God made for the mature. The law of God is made for the unrighteous and for the spiritual children to give you the form of righteousness, hoping that you will grow into the spirit of righteousness. They said before when I played basketball, the coach used to always tell us, see, if you're only practicing when I'm here, you ain't really going to develop. And you're not cheating me, you're cheating yourself. So if you're only doing these layups, if you're only shooting your free throws, if you're only shooting your threes, when you at practice, when I'm looking at you, you ain't really that dude. You ain't really no basketball player. Ball ain't really is life. It's when I'm not in your presence. It's when the parent is not in our presence. It's when the police is not in our presence and we still doing the right thing. That's what makes you a righteous human being. So the minister said Moses gave the world the law. The law is to give us the form. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon us, gave us the law. That law gives you the form, but the law does not give you the spirit.
Come on.
So even in you are in the form of even though you are in the form of righteousness, but your thoughts are contrary to the form that you are in, then you are actually unrighteous in a righteous form. That was deep to me, y'all. That was real deep to me. Yeah, I'm gonna say that. Let me repeat it again, because you might have missed it. I might have missed it myself. The law is to give us the form. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, gave us a law. The law gives you the form, but that law does not give you the spirit. So even though you are in the form of righteousness, but your thoughts are contrary to the form that you are in, then you are actually unrighteous in a righteous form. So that's one of the things I loved about the Nation of Islam as well, because you got some of the so-called orthodox or real Muslims say, well, do y'all pray 5 times a day? Do you make the salat? Do you go over to Mecca? Do you pray like this? Right? That's y'all heard that online, right?
Yes, sir.
Well, does that make us righteous? The minister said a damn devil can pray 5 times a day. You know, so if a devil can pray 5 times a day, it's not the rituals that make you righteous. The ritual is only a reminder of the principle. So when you drinking the blood at church and you eating up the cracker, I don't know why they made it the cracker. Y'all get that. And you eating up the cracker, right? You think, oh, that's what I done drunk the blood of Jesus. No, that ain't what that mean. It mean live the actual lifestyle. So when you pray 5 times a day, the minister said, man, if you doing something just because somebody tell you to and you don't understand the meaning, you got symbol without substance. And you don't really have the spirit. So if I say, brother, I'm praying 5 times a day, brother. Okay, why are you praying 2 times in the morning and then as the sun goes down, you praying about 3 more times? Why is the time like that? You know, I don't know that that's just the time Prophet Muhammad said.
Go ahead.
Why when we praying, man, you got the right over the left, covering this side, man, what does that mean? I don't know, that's just the form we do. See, if you don't understand that the right hand is over the left hand because you want the righteous hand to overcome the Lord desires, then you really don't have no meaning to be praying. You don't understand that prayer is just reaffirming what you believe in. You don't understand you saying it out loud because you also send it to yourself, who is your higher self, and you the one going to make these things come into fruition with your brain. So Brother Nuri said one time when you making your salat and you looking down and you going to put your forehead right there, it's really saying that your brain, you're going to use the wisdom of God to solve this problem or this prayer that you have. So after you pray for it, that what you pray for becomes your prayer because you're going to go get it.
Come on, go ahead.
You see, when you break it down like that, man, you say, oh, man, I'll give you some little prayer in there. But if I'm thinking that prayer is just something you just throwing, he said you just balling up prayers, throwing it up in the sky, hoping God drops something down, then you really don't understand the meaning of it. So it's not about us just being the ritual, being ritualistic. You know how people do, I'm putting my religion down on Monday. How you put your religion down? Religion is supposed to be a way of life. So you come to church on Sunday, or you come to the mosque on Sunday, or you go into the study groups, or you go into the Bible study. But if this is not your everyday life, man, then you're not really that. He said it's not what you call yourself, it's how you live. A Muslim is one who submits their will to do the will of God. A Christian is one who is crystallized in oneness with God, following Jesus Christ. It is not just something that we do. That's why the ministers, or the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, every good Muslim is a Christian, vice versa. We're not with the division stuff at this time. Because as I just said, a Muslim is one who submits their will to do the will of God. And when you look at the scripture, Jesus said, not my will be done, but who will be done? Thy will be done. That's what a Muslim simply is. All of the prophets said simply the same thing. So the minister puts it this way. Your mother said 3 plus 4 equals 7.
Come on now.
Your mother said 6 plus 1 equals 7. And somebody else said 7 plus 0 equals 7. Now look at us on social media. Man, them Muslims crazy, man. They talking about 7 plus 0 equals 7.
Come on.
No, them Hebrew Israelites crazy. They said 6 plus 1 equals 7. The minister said when you get down to the root knowledge and not just the branch knowledge, you will see, man, we all get to the same answer, 7.
Come on,
And he
that's right.
said so many of our people are drowning in the lake. So many of our people are drowning in the ocean. So a Muslim came and he threw his rope out there to save the man, but his rope was too short. The Hebrew Israelite came and he threw his rope out there, and his rope was too short. The Kemet brother, the Moore brother, all of them came and they tried to throw their ropes out there. It's too short. So Brother Nuri said, it's 2 things you can do right here. You can sit here and argue about which rope is the longest, which one is the strongest, or we can just be smart, man, and tie all these ropes together, man, and throw it back in the ocean and save these people. So that is the mindset we need to have today, man, that unity is more powerful than the 10 things. Back to the God. He says you can't touch electricity, but it's conducted through that which you can see.
Come on.
The minister said the best conductor of electricity is gold and silver, and because gold and silver is too expensive to put in a building to conduct this electricity, they use copper.
That's right.
All right, so this finna get heavy now, y'all.
Come on.
So Keys said we worship man. We end up worshiping Prophet Muhammad. Some of us end up worshiping the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Some of us end up worshiping the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, which they have all spoke against. So if y'all, so if anybody outside think he telling us to worship us, then you are absolutely wrong. Talk about it all the time.
That's right.
So even Jesus knew about what Brother 19 Key was saying, because y'all remember when Peter came up to him and Peter said something a little off? He said, "Get thee behind me, Satan." Why he didn't say, "Get thee behind me, Peter"?
Come on.
He said, "Get thee behind me, Satan," because he knew at that time, nah, man, this is Satan talking, brother. This ain't you.
That's right.
So we have to understand, man, yeah, that's the man. Yeah, we call ourselves gods, but that's the little g God. Based on how you use that one God for us, can either make you a devil or make you a God.
Come on, man.
And that's what we got to understand.
Come on now.
So look at this. He says electricity doesn't wear out, but copper does. I'm going to say that again.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Electricity doesn't wear out, but copper does. And remember though, the two aren't being separated. The spirit has to be manifested through the material. Spirit isn't independent of material. And let me give you another example. You see that light bulb's on, these 3 light bulbs? That's a light bulb, this is electricity, that's electricity. But these are all separate things, but powered by one electricity. So if I turn this one off, that don't mean electricity is gone. If I knock that one out, that don't mean the electricity is on. That means that it's something it's something wrong with the light bulb.
That's right.
Either you gotta come turn your light bulb off because you're acting like a fool, or your light bulb has been burnt out.
Come on.
I know what you think. Well, Brother Ben, I done been burnt out. My cousin who on the streets, I don't know, he done been on God. What? He ain't no God. Well, the same way, sister, brother, when your light bulb has been burnt out, what do you have to do when the light bulb is burnt out? Anybody? You got to change the light bulb, right? Now, light represents the knowledge. So don't the scripture say, "Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind"? So all we have to do is go change his light bulb. All we got to do is go put the knowledge of the transformation. Then he's going to turn into God again. That's all we got to do. So I said one time, we got to stop condemning our brothers with these tattoos.
That's right.
We got to stop condemning, because we got suits and bow ties on and garments. That don't mean we all the way righteous.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? The minister called that out one time. So I said, man, instead of us going to the streets, get mad at the brother who got his pants down, if you give him wisdom and you uplift his knowledge, the parents going to come up with the wisdom. The parents going to come up with the knowledge. Turn his light bulb on. And as an example, there was a brother who came to my study group one time that I invited. The brother came in sagging. Brother came in with his hat turned to the back. And you know, we suited and booted, so when we come through, we getting checked. We telling the brothers, yes sir. We telling the sisters, yes ma'am. We very respectful. I'm peeking at the brother. I'm looking at him. What he gonna do? Let me see what he gonna do. Man, that brother seen how respectful we was. He seen how well dressed we were. He pulled them bridges up. You know how granted it. He pulled them bridges up. He didn't even turn the hat around. He took the hat off and was sitting there listening. So that is an example of what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said. You never have to condemn a dirty glass. Just put a clean one next to it. And when you put that clean one next to it and you put that seed in proper soil, it will get changed, man. We're going to go back to the Bible now to prove this God thing. So, The finite body, because they call us finite beings, the finite body does die. But the infinite or infinite wisdom does not die. So I seen an old lecture of the minister, and he said, we don't worship the flesh of Master Prophet Muhammad because he was promised to live 400 years. After those 400 years, who the children going to worship? They still got to worship the God. So the same way the copper goes out, but the electricity just transforms and goes into another form of the copper, that's the same way we is. So much so, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that our Savior has arrived. Allah is he who is supreme in knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. That's what Allah simply is. And that's what we got to become acquainted with. So if you look at the scripture, a lot of our Christian brothers and sisters like to say Jesus is God. Okay? Well, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us that man is mine. Everything that you see brother being up here doing, if you see me move my hands ain't doing it by himself. I didn't walk up here by myself. It's a command from the brain. It's a command from the mind. So man is really mine. That's actually also how we live on forever. Based on how we live our lives, based on how we use our minds. The minister said you can live on through your children by impregnating a woman. That's one way. But what about the sisters who can't have birth? What about the brothers who can't impregnate somebody? He said you can impregnate somebody's mind. And when you impregnate somebody's mind with the idea, you can also live on. So that's what real eternal life is. So Malcolm X is not dead. Marcus Garvey is not dead. Prophet Noble Drew Ali is not dead. All of our great leaders are not dead because they live inside of us. So we got to be the ones who take that message on. That's why the minister said, I can't die. The minister ain't no spooky being, y'all. He's saying, I've given so much knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to these young brothers and these sisters that, man, they going to take this message to every nook and cranny even though I'm not here. So it's not about his finite bottom. It's about the wisdom inside of him. It's about the morals and the principles that he have, and if we carry on those, he lives. And that's the same way we live as well. So if we live and do what we're supposed to do and say what we're supposed to say, if we stand on truth, as long as truth is here, guess who else going to be here? We're going to be here. That's what real eternal life is. So if you look at the scripture, it says what? Now in the beginning, Jesus was, calling on the God. Jesus was calling on the Father. Well, one time they came up to Jesus and said, when are we going to see the Father, right? He said, what did he say? I've been among you all this time and you haven't seen the Father? When you see me, you see the Father. That's right. Well, what happened at that time? At that time, he had become one with God. He had fully died. That's why I say you got to die daily, because we have to die. My Lord desires have to die so God can live in me. So check this out. It said Christ had the mind of God, right? And what it said in the scripture now. But then eventually it said, let this mind that was in Christ be in you. Come on. Uh-oh. Let me say that again. Come on. After this 2 + 2 now. It said Christ had the mind of God. Then it said, let this mind that was in Christ be in you. So what mind do we have? Come on. If we let the mind of Christ be in us. We got the mind of God. So let's look at the separation. In the scripture, the Bible says, your ways, what? Are not my ways. Your thoughts are what? Not my thoughts. So if that is the separation between us and God, that's how we can close the gap. By lining our thoughts up with his. By doing what he wants us to do. That's easy. So once we line our thoughts up and start doing what he wants us to do, when you see me, you see God. When I see you, I see God, because it is him using our vessel as a vehicle. So man, that was heavy, man. When I learned that, when I came into the nation, man, I said, ooh, we powerful than the mug, boy. Then when you understand that when it said, let us make mankind in our image, ooh, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, we are that us and our. He said, did you see how it said? It didn't say, let us make man. It said, let us make mankind. So this is a kind of a man that's grafted from the original black man. That's right. So we talk, who is the original man? The Asiatic black man, the maker, the owner, the cream of the planet Earth, God of the universe. That's right. Man, that's some powerful stuff now, because now you see that, hold on, black is not a color. Black is not a nationality. Black is not a race. When you look at a race, any guy ever watch track and field, a race got a beginning and an ending. He taught us that the black man and woman has no beginning nor ending. Everybody else was grafted from us, so we got to stop letting our children rule us, family. We got to stand back up. Come on. So point number 12 says we believe that Master Prophet Muhammad, Allah appeared to us in the person of Master Prophet Muhammad, right? Well, I was looking at a video of Brother Neri. Did Master Prophet Muhammad come to just make two gods? The Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan?
Come on.
No. So he said, man, eventually we need a point number 13.
Come on.
A point number 14. Allah came in the person of all of us.
Come on,
so once
man.
we lift our knowledge, wisdom, and understanding up to his that he brought us, we all gonna be God. So it ain't gonna be no who the next Farrakhan.
Come on.
We everybody wanna know who the next leader is.
Come on, man.
No, man, you be the next leader, man.
right.
Stop looking for everybody else, because what we do, we want to look for somebody else to blame. That's what we want to do. So we want to blame the pastor. I want to blame the preacher. I want to blame this church. I want to blame this mosque. Man, that man got 2 arms just like you got 2 arms.
Come on,
You got a mouth just like he got a mouth. I know what you think. Well, I ain't got no voice. Well, you got legs. He got this voice by going door to door. He got this voice by putting in work. So you put in the work. If you're a greater God, and show us the blueprint.
Come on.
So yeah, it ain't gonna breathe. The minister always says, look towards the God within.
That's
because
right.
there's gonna be one point when I gotta go, and if you depending on me, I really didn't do my job.
Come on.
That's like a good father. A good father wants to prepare his son for the world. Is that right, brothers?
That's right.
Y'all want to prepare your son to do something for the world. You don't want him to fully depend on you.
That's
You
right.
want to prepare him so when they see your son, boy, I say, boy, you look just like your daddy, boy.
Come on,
You know
man.
how they do.
Come on,
So you
man.
want when they see you or when they see him, man, they see you in him.
That's
So you got to
right.
give them the principles. You got to get in the mindset, not tell him what to think, but really teach him how to think.
That's right.
Be a critical thinker. Think like a real man.
That's right.
That's what we're trying to do.
That's key.
So, man, I hope that made sense to y'all, man.
Yes,
I would, but due to time, I can't go no further. He also taught us about the reality of Jesus. Oh, man, I thought it was a white man coming from the clouds, y'all, when I was younger, man. That was going to come save us all, man. He done died for my sins. That means if I go rob this Kroger one more time, he done already paid the price. He done paid the price. I mean, this is my thinking now. I ain't mocking. This is my thinking. So look at what the minister says. He says there's 4 Jesuses. Oh, man, I know that done shocked somebody here.
That's right.
He said the first Jesus is Prophet Jesus.
Come on.
He didn't have enough power to crush the wicked. So this is from the past, 2,000 years ago. He says number 2 is Allah who appeared in the person.
Come on.
Then he said, Jesus number 3 is the Son of Man raised from among you. So aren't we a dead people? That's what it's saying. We are dead people.
That's
So
right.
yeah, Jesus did rise up from the dead, but not physically.
Come
He didn't get put in the ground and he broke through all the grass. He broke through all
3 days
the
later.
dirt. 3 days later. Then if you put it together, Friday evening to Saturday evening, then to Sunday, man, that ain't even 3 days.
Come on,
Man,
man.
it's starting to get kind of
Come on,
confusing, man.
yeah.
But you know, it may mean something else. It may mean something failed, then 3 years later it rose back up. But I don't know what that means. It may be something like that. It said the 4th Jesus is the people of God.
That's anybody. That's right.
Ooh, that's the people of God. So now, what you said, I know what you're saying, but hold on. It said that he had a mother. Yeah, I mean, how can that be the people? Because the people can have, okay, let me break it down for you. The minister said, it's not necessary that some spirit or some ghost got a woman pregnant. He said if your daughter came in the house talking about she pregnant by a spirit, boy, y'all ain't gonna let that slide. You gonna whoop her all the way back to whoever this dude is. So the Quran says, yeah, it was a spirit, but in the form of a well-made man. Only a man, see, only a man can produce that man who got the X and the Y chromosome, number 1. But check this out. Look at how the minister broke it down. He said this Virgin Mary don't necessarily mean that she didn't have sex. Even if you look at the concordance back in the day, it may just mean young lady. However, he said this represents a virgin people who haven't had an intimate relationship with God. And once we had an intimate relationship with God, we gave birth to a Jesus in our midst that looks just like us. So man, when I found out, man, this thing ain't no religion, this is a way of life. This thing is the way of life, man, and he broke it down like that. Man, I fell in love, brothers and sisters. So man, I know that was just an introduction. Now we're gonna get into the slide. Next slide, please. So the lecture is called Our Rise is Their Demise. Have y'all seen that picture on Instagram that's a meme that got all the black people bent over? And then it's like a lot of white people, probably like the Illuminati, the Rothschilds and things of that nature. And the meme says all we have to do is stand up and the game is over with.
Oh, yeah, on the table.
Yeah, they are on the table. I believe that's all we got to do is stand up and it's going to be over with. The Bible or the Quran says that the Satan said to Allah, respite me until the day they are raised. So basically, he's saying, delay my doom until the day they're raised. So once we raise up, man, their time is up. I know what you've been thinking. Well, I read in the final call, brother, that in 1914, the time been up. Well, we ain't stood up yet. Once we stand up and unite beyond our differences, then we'll find out that we can be in power. And everything that they building right now is going to be handed over to us, because after a while, they're going to die out anyway. According, this ain't no racism. This just biology. Scientific, they going to die. Because we the dominant gene, they're the recessive gene, especially if we keep dating, everybody else, we gonna burn them out. But here we go, look. Number 2 said they wanted to prevent the rise of a Messiah. Y'all probably heard they wanted to prevent the rise of a black Messiah, right? Y'all heard that before? Yes, sir. And a lot of times, anybody who stands up and want to preach truth to us, they end up on this list. They call it the ADL list or the hate list. Why is it that they always want to put us on this list like that? So as I said before, every action is led by a conscious thought. So if they control our minds, they control what? They control our actions. So they don't want somebody else to be rose up in our midst or raised up in our midst to change our mindset, because now they're going to lose control of our mindsets. So they already know. Don't you know they spending millions or probably billions of dollars just to put subliminal messages in the music, subliminal messages in the TV, subliminal messages in the movies, so they can have us doing certain things? This is all sound. We just don't know this. So if every enemy was killed, they'll still be in power, the minister said. That's right. Because the minister, we taught that the white man is the devil and things of that nature. So some of us revolutionary brothers say we just need to get the AKs, get the Thukas. They probably say, I don't know if y'all say that out here. They say Thukas in Texas. They got some new guns. So they say, man, we're going to get the gun. We just going to kill all of them. The minister said, man, they still going to be in power. You know why? Because you got black people who are going to have a white mindset. Right. All skin folk ain't kinfolk, brothers and sisters. Right. So once you understand that you're looking at a black-white person, then you say, golly, he ain't even gone. You sound more like the white man than the white man sometimes. So it's not the white man's skin or his necessarily the human being that needs to be destroyed. It's the mindset that needs to be destroyed. So once we destroy that mindset, not just in him, but in ourselves, that's when we're going to be successful. So much so the minister said, whenever you save a black man and woman, in that same act, you have killed the devil. That's right. You killed the devil in him. Come on, right? So they've turned us inside out, and we got somebody in our midst all the time. So we look at the word Jesus. I know what y'all said, the letter J wasn't invented back then. All this stuff, right? It came in many names. So whenever somebody was oppressed, God had somebody there that was giving life to the dead. God has somebody right there that was giving sight to the blind. So it's just different names and different figures or different characteristics that's going to be in us. So every time somebody has that attribute, every time somebody has that thought to raise somebody up from the dead, they want to bring them down. So they definitely turned us inside out. And I want to paint a picture to you. Anybody ever stole a dog in here? They ain't going to admit it. Never mind. Don't even raise your hand. But let's think about it though. Y'all know somebody. What the first thing they do when they steal a dog? They capture the dog, right? You got to steal the dog. What happens next? You got to chain the dog up, right? Then once you chain the dog up, you give the dog a name. This is my little dog Blue. It may take a year for him to start listening to you, but it's my new dog Blue. That's right. Then guess what? You got to start beating the dog, because naturally the dog is going to be disobedient because you ain't his rightful owner. But guess what happened after you done beat this dog good enough? Man, you can take that chain off. You can leave the gate open. Old little Blue still gonna be in that backyard eating that food, right? Come on. Sound like us, don't it? Go ahead. Look at this. The dog becomes protective of the master and might even bark at the rightful owner after a while. So you don't find out where the house is. You talking about, hey PJ, come on Lord. He looking at you like you crazy. That ain't my name. Why you calling me that? So when you look at some of us, how many of y'all ever seen a Chinese man named Lee Jones? Lee Johnson. Come on. Jackie. Jackie Petty. Man, that's some crazy stuff, man. You'll laugh at that. But look at our names. Man, we got the Jones, we got the Johnson, so we got their names. So we got captured, we got chained up, they gave us the name, we getting beat, and so many of us are protecting the white man. So many of us are protecting our oppressors, so much so we scared to say white man. It's probably making some of y'all cringe right now, and I'm just saying white man. I ain't even say nothing racist, I ain't even say nothing bad, but y'all like, he just keep saying white man. I seen a brother, I kid you not, I seen a brother on YouTube, y'all. He's talking about, yeah, this nigga here, and the black man, and then when he said white man, he said, white man, you know the white man. He started pointing to the inside of his hand. He started trying to, white man. I'm like, dude, just say white man. Why you scared to say white folk? You in the elevator, you would say nigga all day long. Let you say white man, you ain't saying nothing. You point to your eyeball. You trying to point to anything white on your body. I'm like, come on, man. You ain't nothing to be scared. So a lot of us are still really afraid of them. Even though we are supposed to be free, we're really not free mentally. That's why we have to really hone in on our mind and our thoughts, because they really still control us in our mind. That's why they're not allowed in the meetings. Because if I get in here talking about the white man, you ain't even worried about what I'm saying. You over there, I wonder what he gonna think about this. God damn. I gotta go to work tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? So that's how we gonna be thinking, man. So even let's look at our language now. What's up, dog? What's happening, dog? You say, I know we be doing that. You saying dog, but it should be peace, God. What's going on, God? So we've been turned inside out. So and then they also say, who's man best friend?
Come on.
The dog is the man best friend. No, that ain't man best friend. That's mankind's best friend. My best friend is the God. That's who my best friend is. That's not good. So I want to show y'all some of the deception, man. Y'all know, I mean, this may be, y'all may thought I wasn't going to speak about it, but I'll be on social media, and one of the main things they want to say when they don't want to listen to the ministers, well, he killed Malcolm X. They killed Malcolm X. You ain't did one Google search.
Come on.
Talking about he killed Malcolm. You don't even know that the man who gave Brother Malcolm mouth-to-mouth name was Gene Roberts. And he also infiltrated the Black Panthers.
That's right.
Things of that nature. You don't even know these different things. Now you may say, well, I heard what he said. He was all mad and angry. Man, you do the same thing in the hood. You do the same thing on Instagram. Somebody can say they disagree with your post. You talking about, I'm finna pull up and kill a nigga. So when you get angry and when you get mad, you speak out of anger sometimes as well. And the minister has even addressed that. His language of speaking, but that don't mean he was accountable for the murder. So let's look at Malcolm X's daughter, who said that she spoke to the shooters when they came out. And I want you to listen to what, if you go to that's not in this one, but if you go to Vlad TV, she said that they said they work for different police entities.
Come on.
And that there's a guy, I think it's John Ali or maybe Gene Roberts, one of them, they said that he saw the rehearsal a week before, that they rented the ballroom out a week before. Right, so one of the things that they always try to do, they want to try to, and check out how smooth they was. When Malcolm was dead, or when he got assassinated, he was the #1 anti-Semite on their list. But now they putting him on. He putting them on stamps. They got him on all kind of streets and everything like that. So what they doing is they want to lead him up. Keep throwing these little weak movies in that ain't really true, so you can think that the minister said something. So now when he speaks truth, the same truth he was speaking, now you don't want to listen. So I want y'all to hear it straight from Brother Malcolm's daughter, who's actually did the investigation and love him more than all of us do. Let's check it out.
There's a lot of young people right now running around the internet, and they putting a lot of false rumors out there, and they saying that the Nation of Islam is responsible for Minister Malcolm X's murder. When you hear things like that, what goes through your mind? What do you have to say to the young people that's out there listening to that?
I think it's unfortunate because, my father talked about being hoodwinked, bamboozled, and led astray. To think that the Nation of Islam killed Malcolm means that you don't understand the power that Malcolm had. When you understand the power that he had and the conviction and integrity and compassion and all the things that he had for his people, then you understand why he was killed. The nation, as were many other organizations, were infiltrated. Many government agencies played a part in killing my father. My father spoke about going to France. Many government agencies played a part in killing my father. My father spoke about going to France, and France not letting him in because they didn't want history to record that he was assassinated on their in the soil.
All right, you can stop it now. So for those who was wondering, that was an Instagram clip that I made. So if you see me, it wasn't edited. I wasn't changing her words. I just edited the pauses down to fit for Instagram. But y'all heard it clearly what she said. So that's straight from her. Go to the fourth slide. I ain't got nothing to say with that. I mean, she done said it all.
Come on.
So I want to talk about the devil here. Because oftentimes we talk about the enemy, but we never talk about the enemy. I'm going to say that again. Maybe y'all thought I said the same thing. I said oftentimes we talk about the enemy, but we don't want to talk about the inner me. So when you look at this here, man, that's another reason why I love the Nation of Islam, because they break it down. When you look at the Quran says that the devil, all he did was call and you came. So don't try to blame me, because Allah has already showed you the right path. He has already told you the right thing to do. So if I trick you, don't try to blame me. Blame yourself, basically. So when you look at the tree, you think that this tree had this apple on it. Adam and Eve, they came in. The snake said, you need to eat of this fruit of this apple. And then we got a tree of good, of evil and good and the tree of knowledge, good and evil, things of that nature. And we have this so-called, this spooky way of thinking about it. Well, if you look at it like this, the snake in Genesis is the devil within self. And when you look at Eve, Eve represents the subconscious mind. He represents the conscious mind. Which one tricked the other one?
Come on.
Eve is the one who tricked or got Adam to eat of the fruit, right? The so-called fruit, right?
That's right.
Well, why is that? Have y'all ever wondered why the enemy spends so much time trying to attack our subconscious mind? Have y'all wondered why the enemy spends so much time trying to get in tap with our unconscious, or they call it subconscious mind, through the music and the movies and the TV shows and things like that? Because they know if we get to the subconscious mind, it'll be poured over to the conscious mind.
Come on.
Y'all understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Okay, maybe 4 people understand what I'm saying. Let me try to
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Let me try to break it down. Have y'all ever been listening in the car, right? And y'all ain't trying to listen to Cardi B. You know, that ain't really your type of music, but it's playing on the radio every day. All right, and this song is on for about the past. You know, I hate when they got it to where you trying to. I don't know what radio station y'all got. We got 97.9 The Beat and K104 in Dallas, right? So if something I don't want to hear on 97.9 The Beat, I hate when I change it and they playing the same exact song. Like, dang, can y'all communicate? Get some? So what happens is, after a while, I found myself, I'm singing Cardi B. I didn't even sit down and try to write down the lyrics. I'm not listening attentively to really try to remember the song, but because it's being fed into my subconscious mind so much, now I consciously know this song. So that's how it really works when you talk about the subconscious mind. So when you look at this, it represents a crooked thought. So the same way you got a snake and it crawls crooked, it's not a straight thought, or it's not a straight path, it's a crooked thought. So every time you got a command from God, what was the command from God? Not to entertain this tree of good and evil. Why? Because of what 19 Keys said. When you add that falsehood to it, it messes your whole mind up.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying? So the minister said one time, the tree is there, and that represents a man, not necessarily a tree. A tree takes in carbon monoxide and gives off what? Oxygen.
Come on.
He said, but look at what this crooked, evil white man does. I'm talking about the evil. I know some of y'all got friends at work. I ain't gonna get into that. So, the crooked are the ones in high places. What they do, they take in the oxygen and give off the carbon monoxide. And when I look at the characteristics of the carbon monoxide, it has no odor. It can't be seen. So we call that the hidden hand. So when you look at the TV shows, you can't see the devil in it. When you look at the music, you can't see the devil in it. You say, oh, it's just entertainment, right? But a lot of these things, you wonder why your little girl twerking now. You wonder why your little brother, he mad and he just want to kill everything now. You wonder why everybody, every time, he do something, he want to cuss you out now. Now, back in the day, you would have got slapped. But see, these days, a lot of our children, their mothers want to be friends with the child now. The minister was breaking that down one time. He said, don't spoil the rod and don't spread the rod and spoil the child now. Because he said, man, my mama beat me because if she don't beat me when I do something bad in the world, the police gonna beat me. And we see that happening every day.
That's right.
So, we got to make sure that we containing these conscious thoughts, these crooked thoughts. So that same commandment that he had to not entertain that tree of good and evil, that represents any time the God within. Because all of us got a God within. I don't care if you haven't read one scripture, one ayat. All of us have that God within, that voice that you hear. The minister said we are righteous by nature, man, and wicked by circumstance. He said we are so righteous. When you want to do something wrong, you got to convince yourself to do something wrong.
That's right.
So even though she said we're going to come over for the Netflix and chill, you know what's gonna go down, but you finna, man, we just gonna do the Netflix and chill, man, I'm gonna leave. You gotta convince yourself to do the wrong thing. We that righteous.
Come on now.
So whenever you get a command from your higher self, whenever you hear that God conscious, or you have that, they call it we call it in the Quran the self-accusing spirit. Some of y'all may call it the conscience. As long as you still got that conscience, then you still got Allah with you. He's still with you. You still got a little mercy. But when you're doing something wrong and you do not feel no guilt, boy, you have turned into a devil. You are a beast now. You are a savage now. And we are taught that a savage is one who has lost the knowledge of himself and is living a beast life. So that's why, growing up, we used to say, I'm a savage, man. I'm a beast in basketball. No, we ain't saying I'm a god in basketball. See, I'm a king in basketball. We got to change up our language because language pretty much determines how we act. All the word is thought times sound. So whatever you thinking in your mind, that's what you're going to express, and whatever your self-image is in your subconscious mind, that's what your actions going to line up with. So if I look at myself and I say I'm a god like the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to try to be a god. But if I only think I'm a nigga, all I'm going to do is just be a nigga and use that as an excuse. And to prove it, there's a brother that I know, right? And he says, they was diagnosing him with all kind of stuff, ADD. Dr. Umar Johnson said all that means is you get absent data disorder. They ain't really got no ADD. You need a good father in your life that's going to give you some attention. But he got ADD. They told him he couldn't read in math. They told him he couldn't read. They told him he couldn't do something else. So every time he has to do something, that's actually his excuse. Well, they said I couldn't read. So be careful, mothers and fathers, man, when these parents, but these doctors are diagnosing our children with certain things, telling them they slow, telling them they're not that, telling them they're not this, or telling them they are something. Because once you tell them that and they believe it, that's actually what they'll live up to. That's right. So we got to be very careful with that. So the minister said that he represents the conscious mind, or Brother Neri said he represents the conscious mind, and she represents the subconscious mind. Now, that is supposed to be what? The garden of what? The Garden of Eden, right? Now, this only represents the mind. The mind is a garden. That's why you first go to kindergarten, where they dropping seeds on you. And these seeds that they drop on you, it may not manifest right now, but they keep watering it. Then they keep trying to put sunlight on it, and you're going to manifest into what you are. So that's why when Malcolm said what he wanted to be back in there, they said, oh, maybe you should be a carpenter. Because they don't want you to really understand and see that you got power within. That's why when I got my money course, I said we got to stop chasing money, chase the God within, chase the gift, skills, and talent that we have within, and then money going to chase us. So we got to see ourselves in the picture. And so when you think about it, when you're looking at school, how many of y'all know who Albert Einstein is? All the children, raise your hand. How many of y'all know who Abraham Lincoln is? Yeah. How many of y'all know who Martin Luther King is? Everybody. But see, when they talk about Martin Luther King, they talk about I had a dream. That little black boy, that little black girl. Then they always talk about integration. Why they don't tell us that Martin Luther King said, I've integrated my people into a burning house? Why they don't tell us that he said that dream I had that day is turned into a nightmare? Because every time we come into that hotel, our hotel's closed down. When we got into our bus, their bus is closed down, so they saw. Damn, them niggas, they may be a little smart if they do something for themselves, because we knew right out of slavery, we had 60 towns. Now, how is that possible? And we ain't got that now with our PhDs and our master degrees. My brother Malik said that's because when you look over on the back of your brother, you still see them swipes. You still see them whips. So you know who your enemy is, but now they done gave us a job. Brother 19 Keys said they always smile at you, trying to disarm you. They give you a little job, give you a little crumbs. Now you don't know who the enemy is no more. So now you don't even want to unite no more. And when we love them so much, we begin to hate ourselves. And I know what you're thinking. What is the antidote to self-hatred? Self-love. That's right. Captain Dennis said, no, sir. He said it's the knowledge of self, because you can't love what you don't know. Come on, man. We can say we love everybody. The minister said we say we love everybody. He said you a liar, because you don't even hate your own. You hate your own self. Yeah, you looking in the mirror every day and you hate what you see. You looking in the mirror every day and you doubt yourself. So we have to have that the knowledge of self. The knowledge of self produces the love for self. The love for self produces respect for self. And once I can respect me, I can respect you so much so the scripture says, how can you love God who you never seen and hate your brother who you see every day? That's a good question, because we love to say, oh, I'm blessed and highly favored. The God has favored me. But then your brother get to talking, you cussing him out. Man, y'all gonna laugh at this one. You ever been on the phone, your mama or your mama just got done cussing y'all, and get your butt in that room, she cussing y'all because you ain't cleaned up a little lint off the floor or something like that. You done cleaned the whole house. You got a little piece of paper. She cussing you out about that. She going hard in, but as soon as the phone call, somebody call her, hello, this is Miss Johnson. I mean, your voice, the whole voice changed. How that happen? Your whole voice gonna change on me like that? That's crazy, man. But no, man, the devil within, man, is what we really have to get acquainted with, and I'm gonna get to why a little bit later. So let's go to this last slide. Because I know what y'all thinking, man. How are we going to make this? Oh, no, this is not the last slide. I want to give y'all an example of how the devil tempts us and then blames us for it. So this is what happens in Chicago. How many of y'all seen that bait truck situation in Chicago where they setting up the Nikes and they setting up everything else, forcing them young brothers. Well, they're not forcing them, but they making them young brothers go get it because they know that's what they want. Yeah, you can play it and make it big. And you got to increase the audio. Hit the X on the other side, on the white part.
Man, y'all can't put no location on us, y'all do. Y'all dirty, man. Y'all dirty, man. Y'all dirty, man. Y'all see kids playing ball, y'all park the fucking Nike truck.
Hey,
full of Nike together.
They call it the Nike truck right here with 6%. It's like a bait truck.
Really?
People, man, that's a
It's a bait truck, man. Kids playing ball. Y'all park an empty Nike truck with Nike boxes in the ghetto. In the ghetto.
Police from Norfolk Southern Railways loaded the truck with Nike Air Force One sneakers and Christian Louboutin shoes. 3 people were arrested for theft in what police call a sting, but neighbors call a setup. Chicago PD said they were only brought in to make arrests.
They try to set us up in our neighborhood. Yeah, that's what they do, man.
The videos that were posted online prompted so much outrage that Norfolk Southern eventually apologized, saying that they don't plan to use that method in the future.
All right, so y'all couldn't hear the white guy respond, but he said y'all the ones who made the conscious decision. Sound, I'm talking about, it's like it was straight out the Quran, man, wasn't it? So check this out. To summarize this video and to summarize this whole situation about the devil, whenever he tricks you, you got to exit. I hit the exit button. Escape button, I'm sorry. When he tricks us, he says that all he did was call and you came. The answer to this is the devil can only trick us when we want what he has to offer.
Come on.
I'm going to say that again. The devil can only trick us when we want what he has to offer. And I'm going to give you an example. Brother Ben used to get a number 12 with sweet and sour sauce every time I passed McDonald's. And when I changed my mind about it being fake meat and not being real and not really having nutrients for my body, because I got another level of respect for myself, so I started treating myself better. You know, you don't put the same kind of oil and gas that you do in the Bentley that you do with that little Humpty that your grandma passed down. You put a little bit different, you know, gasoline in your body. So when I go past, and you know what's so crazy about the thought, man, about your mind? Even when I pass a McDonald's, I literally don't even see it no more because it's not on my mind. Maybe y'all probably don't understand that, but let me show you how the mind works. You ever got a new car? And when you get this new car, you see this car everywhere, but before you got it, you didn't see it at all. Happens all the time, don't it? It's because of how powerful our mind is and the focus on our mind. So if we stop focusing on what the devil has to offer, then we can we can ignore him. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said he have us so smart that he'll be wrapped around our finger and we wouldn't even know he was there. So as long as we focus on ourselves, they'll die. How do we beat white supremacy, Brother Ben? With black excellence. All we got to do is be excellent. All we got to do is excel. All we got to do is build, and what they got is going to be destroyed, brothers and sisters. Come on. But I know what you're thinking. How can we do this in this world, though? Because this world is heavy. This world is always pulling on us, and we got to really tap into our will. We got to have the will to do it. The minister said, it's not about what you can't do, it's about what you're willing to do. Because when you want something, you'll go get it. How many of y'all ever seen somebody have a death in the family that they love, and this whole family done came together and done built up? I'm talking about done racked up $10,000 in a week for a funeral. But you couldn't rack up $10,000 with your family while they was alive for a business. See, we can do the same thing. So with the same energy we use for the death, how about we start using it for life? Because we all gonna die. I don't want somebody that's just gonna die for me. I want somebody that's gonna live for me as well. That's more powerful to me. So the Holy Quran constantly reminds us that Allah's command is just be. And And it is. He says, but this is not a spooky abracadabra thing. He says, or open the sesame thing, or like I like to say, y'all seen that commercial, like a good neighbor, stay from it, and they pop up with a couch.
Come on,
they pop up with a new car. That's not how this gonna work. It's gonna take time. So he says, he summons the power of his own being, his creative mind and will to bring about that which he wills. That's what we need to be doing. When Allah says be, this is an expression of his will, but it's more than just an expression of his will. For when he says be, he arranges forces, resources, angels, people, according to a plan to bring about the fruition of his will. So God is a being with force and power. Power is the ability to do something. So all of us got the power to do something. We got the power to do something for somebody else. Now why we can't have the power to do it for ourselves? So in the Nation of Islam, we teach separation, not segregation. We're not saying you can't come spend that green with us. We're going to get this green for you, then we're going to go build for ourselves. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, observe the white man, because he works as a collective manner. He doesn't make any excuses for his failures. So we got to think the same way, family. We talking about separation. Separation meaning that we're not going to depend on other people to do for us what we have the power to do for ourselves. That is the goal. And some of us are afraid or think we shouldn't separate. Let somebody punch your little niece one time in the eye. Oh, you need to get a divorce. Oh, he did what? He cussed you out? Man, this white man been knocking us out the head for 400 years and we still scared to separate. It's time for us to divorce him too. So he says Allah's will never fails. There is no plan by any school or scientist, no power in the heavens above or in the earth beneath that can circumvent the plan of Almighty God. In fact, oh, this is heavy right here. Because I know a lot of y'all that say, man, I got them haters. I got them, devil, get up off me. Y'all know what Boosie be saying. But look, it says, in fact, the plans of the present world leaders were all taken into consideration. I got to say that again. Because when y'all putting together y'all plan, I want y'all to know this. Look at the God's mind. In fact, the plans of the present world leaders was taken into consideration. Before there were even a thought in the mind of their father, their plans was known. Their sheen was known. And Allah took their plans into consideration. He places his hand over their plan. He places his scheme over their scheme, so that even their wicked schemes help to bring about the fruition of his will. Boy, that is a mighty God right there. That is a mighty powerful being we are dealing with. When he says be, it is. And I got a prime example. Y'all know I got my YouTube terminated, right?
Yes, sir.
I got a new one called Brother Benez if y'all want to go back and subscribe. But before it got terminated, I met with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and you know the minister doesn't waste any words and he's guided. He says, at the end of his talking to me, he says, NFA, it's on the way. Now, NFA Studios is our own video streaming platform that the Nation of Islam got. We got the Minister Lectures on there. We got my show on there. We got a cooking show on there. It's called NFAstudios.com, our own platform that we produce and that we run. Now, this is before my YouTube got terminated.
Come on now. Come on.
About a month go by, and I'm teaching a lecture in Austin. And I get all the way down to the end. And in my lectures, as y'all can see, I play videos so y'all can get kind of like a visual and get examples. So I was playing videos of the minister throughout the lecture, and then I say, let me show y'all some of the testimonials from the people all around the world who's joined the Nation of Islam, and if they didn't join, they just talk about how they've been helped. They decided not to commit suicide. They paying all the bills in the house now. They got a new business. All kind of things. So as I'm getting down to the testimonials, the video started stopping. And because it was connected to my Wi-Fi, I thought my Wi-Fi had went out. So I'm thinking, oh, okay, man, we just got to talk this out because something with my Wi-Fi. So I'm on the way home, and a brother inboxes me on Instagram and says, Brother Ben, your YouTube channel is gone. I'm thinking, man, what you talking about, man? This ain't the good time to play, man. This ain't the good plan. So I went to check my YouTube channel, and they done terminated my whole YouTube channel. I still haven't got it back. And they said it was because of hate speech. And you know, I believe it's just because of truth, and I believe it's because there was so many people waking up, and so many young brothers waking up, and they had to stop that plan. But if they did that to Farrakhan, then I expect them to do it to me. Because if I'm gonna stay in those steps with the minister, I don't expect the world to love me and then hate my teacher. Because if they don't love him, they shouldn't love me. And if they love me, I probably need to take a look in the mirror and see if I'm following the white man. Due to Allah. But it was right on time, because right when that happened, the minister had already said NFA was on the way. So when they terminated my channel, and I said, everybody, they terminated my YouTube channel, go over to NFA Studios. And I had over 700 people go sign up for NFA Studios on our own video platform. So that was my way of saying that the guy used their plan to even help our plan to do for self anyway. And that's why I think Donald Trump is in office. The minister said Donald Trump is God's man.
That's right.
And conscious people can't wait till the minister mess up. So they misspoke. They said, look at him. He's saying he the Messiah. He's saying Donald Trump is some good. No, he's saying Donald Trump is putting that light in our behinds. So he can show us that they ain't our real brothers and sisters. So they can show us what they're really thinking so we can go do something for ourselves. So in fact, he said Trump has lifted up or peeled back the onion of white civility. Or white supremacy. So now that you see how they moving and you seeing how they acting, it's forcing us to say, man, maybe you ain't my enemy. Maybe we need to unite and fight against this real enemy who is really against us.
Come on, man.
So he says today, when we ask someone to obey Allah or God's will, some of us, it's like asking to deny our own right to think and act in independence. When you obey Allah's will, the people will say, this is the minister talking, I don't want to be no slave. I ain't obeying God's will. I'm an independent thinker. I'm a free thinker. And y'all know everybody say this on Instagram. I'm free-spirited. You know, I just follow the spirit, you know, understand me? Doing all kind of evil stuff. But the spirit got you doing all that there? Come on now. But look at the minister. The minister says, you free-thinking fool. Brothers and sisters, I do not mean to insult you, but if you think that you are a free thinker, you are absolutely foolish. Today, the government of the United States of America is spending millions of dollars to perfect the art of mind control. They are spending millions of dollars in development of new and sophisticated drugs that they can put in the water and put in the food that make you easily submissive to subliminal messages.
Come on, man. Come on, man.
Have y'all ever seen that commercial late at night where it said if you take this or you have suicidal thoughts, call a doctor?
Come on.
How did they know you're going to have suicidal thoughts? How did they know what was going to happen? Because they scientists, man, but they scientists in a wicked way, not in a righteous way.
Come on, man.
So this is proof that they can do this. And we just be like, yeah, dang, I didn't. Well, I guess I just called my doctor then, and we still take the pill.
Come on.
They are spending millions of dollars on this. So he says, yes, it will be a struggle to obey Allah God when Shaitan, Satan, is fighting now for all that we have. Because he knows that he has but a short time left to rule, so we must fight to obey Allah God, beloved brothers and sisters. Allah God does not want to make us his slaves. Allah God does not want to make us his slaves. But in obeying Allah God, we are truly free. So many of us think that when we obey Allah God, that we are negating ourselves from being free, but that's actually not true. We actually freeing ourselves and protecting ourselves. So when they give us a law or when they give us something to do, it's to protect their evil will. Like there was a law to have slavery. Like there's a 13th Amendment going on right now where you thought slavery was abolished, but it said that slavery is still legal. It was illegal or abolished except for punishment for a crime. So now they put the drugs in the community. Now they put guns in the community. Now they drop guns off in Chicago knowing them young brothers gonna go get it. And then they lock them up for it. Now, yes, we can control ourselves, but they know if we don't have self-control and we're not raising up from the dead yet, these are the ones they're gonna get. So they got systems set up for us. So that's why it's our job who are conscious to go out there and redeem our people. So, just to give you an example, because many people say, well, I love what the minister say. Man, I'm with that Nation of Islam stuff, but man, I just can't be this one, man. I ain't with all them laws, man. I can't eat pork no more, man. I can't drink. I can't turn up. I can't do this. Well, the laws, like I just said, is saving us. How many of y'all have ever went to Six Flags? Y'all got Six Flags out here?
No, sir. We've been. Yes, sir.
What about a roller coaster? Anybody ever rode on a roller coaster?
Yes, sir.
Let me ask you a question. There's a law to put that roller coaster bar down. How many of y'all said, brother, man, I'm free-spirited. Man, get this ball off me, man. I'm free-spirited, man. I'm a free thinker. Let me get this ball off, man. I ain't gonna follow this law. How many of y'all did that? None of y'all, right? It'd be crazy, a daredevil in here somewhere. But why do you put the bar down? Because you know, on that roller coaster, you're gonna go up, you're gonna go down, you're gonna go crooked, you're gonna go upside down. Some of the rides be bumpy, and you be thinking you're gonna fly off anyway, even with the bar down. Well, that's like life. That's what the laws of God. Your life is gonna go up. Your life is going to go down. Your life is going to go upside down. But if you got that law of God, you're always going to be secure. You got that law of God, you're always going to be God. So, in closing, many people like to say, well, dang, Brother Ben, I seen, some people be coming to Savior. They white people, man. It says, can the devil be reformed? No, sir, he must be destroyed, right? That's what's in the lessons, right? Must be destroyed. The minister said that's the mindset that must be destroyed. And I want to explain why the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the minister is important. Many people only want to go with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and these are some people who get left blaming the white man. The white man didn't give me a job. The white man doing this. The white man ain't doing that. Well, dang, if he's so powerful, why does he have so much control over you? It's okay to know his history. It's okay to know what he did, but after knowledge has come, after we already had his supreme wisdom, it's time for us to overcome all of that.
That's right.
So when you look at the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and you look at the minister, you can see how the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was evolving the message. Let me try to break this down as best as I can. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said the Quran says Allah placed a ruler in the earth. This is in the Quran, right? He said this, and then the angel said, Allah, what would you do? What would they do besides cause mischief in the shedding of blood? All right? So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said this represents the white man who had to rule for 6,000 years, and he caused much mischief now, and the shedding of blood. Now we all can be devils now, but we know who the devil is, who has done this so much all over the world where we haven't even thought of. So, But the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said, let me give you this interpretation. It doesn't say let's place it on the earth. It said let's place it in the earth. We are from the earth. He said the bone of us is from the stone. The blood is from the water of the earth. And so what he's basically saying is Allah, God, is sharing his power with us. He's sharing the power to rule. He's sharing his force and power with us. And the angel was concerned because you're giving his power to underdeveloped men. So the same way God wants to be the center of everything, look at our underdeveloped selves on Instagram and Facebook. Want to be the center of everything. I done seen brothers walk outside with Pampers on just to be the center of attention. I done seen people want to punch old ladies just to get on World Star, just so you can be the center of attention. But that goes back to what the Quran is saying here. Because we are underdeveloped and we can't really control it yet, the same way God has the ability, force, and power to give life and death, we have that same power. But instead of us giving life, we use that force and power to give out death. We use that same power to destroy. So it's talking about you. And if you also think about the white man, he said that he was grafted from the original black man. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, be careful talking about them because they can easily say, you made me.
Come on, man.
So if I came from you, this is something that's also in you. So you are a lower manifestation of myself. The minister said in order to perfect something, you want to see the imperfection. So we all should find our imperfections with joy. So when you find that imperfection, now you have a full manifestation of the picture of that needs to be perfected. So whenever we see something wrong in ourselves, we shouldn't be down on ourselves because we all fall short. We should say, man, I'm glad I found that device. I'm glad I found that thing that's wrong with me so I can perfect that thing. It's an opportunity. So if the white man was grafted from us, he said, man, a lot of us have been grafted into the white man. So we have to be grafted back into our original selves. So when you look at the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he was a shock teacher because we thought that the white man was God and the black man was some devil. Because they was teaching us that Jesus was white. Then they even made songs about it. Mary had a little lamb and his feet was white as snow. And you know, if the snow is white, then Jesus must be white. And because they say God is Jesus in Christianity, then you must think God is white. And if you say God is white, then the opposite must be what? The opposite must be the devil. Then look at Muhammad Ali, how he broke it down. He said, how come the brown fruit cake is the devil fruit cake? Then the angel fruit cake, the white fruit cake is the angel fruit cake. How come every time I gotta walk past a black cat, that represents bad luck? So they showed us all these different things to poison our mindsets. But when you understand black is not a color, it's the essence from which all color comes from. When you understand that you are the mother and father of civilization, when you understand that you are the God of the planet Earth and that all came from you, you are the real Alpha and Omega, and all you gotta do is wake up. Man, that makes you very proud. That wakes you up. So the reason we need the minister and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, because he pointed out the history of the white man, but then the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan made that relate to ourselves. Because again, we can only be fooled by what the devil has to offer. That starts with self. We can only not do the wrong things, not be conveyed or not be trapped by the subconscious subliminal message that they have until we have ourselves together. He even talked about the charity. He says charity is not necessarily for the God. It's so that you can get this greed out of you. So once you got in control of your internal forces, external forces can't manipulate those internal forces. So once you're giving away in charity, whether at the mosque, church, or in the world, there's somebody on the outside that knows I can't trick him with money because he's not so niggardly. He's not so always with want this money, because now if you are like that, well, you got to have all the money. I can pay you $5,000 to go kill your own brother. I can pay you $5,000 to go rob your own brother, and you'll be willing to sell yourselves out. So once we got ourselves together, brothers and sisters, we will rise up, and I believe all we have to do is unite. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said our unity is more powerful than an atomic bomb. So our mission, brothers and sisters, is to give life to the dead, not physically, but mentally and spiritually. And once we wake ourselves up, it's our duty to go wake our brothers and sisters up. That's why I'm so proud and thankful for everybody who came before me, because that is a hell of a job to be trying to raise another brother up or another sister up while you're also trying to raise yourself up. And so the message is, whenever we're looking down on our brother and sister, it should always be to pull them up. Thank you guys for listening, brothers and sisters.
Give Brother Ben, Brother 19. Thank you so much, man. The Holy Ghost just came down today. You know, and I want to say this, and we'll get into something that Brother said was so important. We're going to get some of that, what would you say, that greed out of him. But look, I'm so thankful for those of you that weren't here earlier. I'm so proud of these two young brothers because they're young warriors, they're young lions. And the thing that I was most impressed with these two brothers on yesterday is that to be such young men, they have a certain command of their ego. Like I said, they put it in their back pockets and they sit down on it. And what I observed is that these two brothers, see, when you tap into your purpose in life, you don't have time for hate or envy. When I watched and I observed these two brothers, I learned something that the Honorable Louis Farrakhan says. He says that the Quran and the Bible aren't necessarily the books of God, but he said the real books of God is God's creation. And what I observed from these two brothers on yesterday, I was looking at some flowers in my aunt's garden one day, and I noticed, like, wow, she had these tulips and she had these beautiful roses. And one thing that I learned is that sometimes as human beings, when we hadn't tapped into our particular gift or talent, we feel sometimes we have to put out somebody else's light in order for us to shine. See, I didn't observe this with these two brothers. These brothers are like two beautiful flowers that have tapped into their purpose and sense of being. And if you notice, flowers don't get preoccupied with competing with one another, they simply bloom. Man, y'all missed that. But, come on, man. He ain't tripping over his gift, and he ain't tripping over his gift because Brother 19 can't outdo Brother Ben because there's only one like him, and Brother Ben can't outdo Brother 19, so he ain't preoccupied. They're just doing them. They just a beautiful flowers that they are. And we should do the same. But so I thank these beautiful brothers. I love you, and thank you most importantly for taking time out of your busy schedule to be here. We got two things that we would like to do. First of all, how many of you are here for your first time? Can I see by show of hands? Oh, praise be to the Lord. Give yourselves a hand just for coming out today. Because I know that many of us, we get a little spooky. We don't want to come to that Muslim meeting because you think you're going to walk in the door, we're going to sprinkle some fairy dust on you, and you're going to get brainwashed or hoodooed, and then, it's But I want to thank you for being open-minded enough to come out today. And I see a number of beautiful faces that I hadn't seen in some time. Thank you so much for coming. But for those of you that may be here for your first, your second, third, however many times you've been here, how many of you believe what you heard these two beautiful soldiers share today to be the truth and it's good for our people? Can I see a show of hands? Praise God. I'll raise both of my hands. Praise be to Allah. Give yourself a round of applause. Now here's the stick. There's no compulsion in Islam. There's no compulsion in religion. And you don't have to feel compelled to do anything. But as these brothers were speaking, you heard their voice, but there was another voice that was speaking to you as they were speaking. And that's that voice of God that these two brothers was talking about. And if that voice was telling you that you need to look deeper into this, if you would like to embrace the life-giving teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad under the leadership of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and like to make this your own and grow into a greater knowledge of God and yourself and become a part of the Nation of Islam. Can I see a show of hands? Oh, pray. Thank you so much for my brother. What's your name, dear brother? Brother Henry. Thank you. So who invited you out today, so? Oh, that's what's up. Praise be to Allah. So, we want to make sure, Brother Preston, that we capture our brother's information and that we follow up with a call. Lastly, when you come to the Nation of Islam, see, we don't believe in no spookism. We believe in reality. You may go to the church and say, well, they take up and pass the offering plate and say, give your money to the Lord. No, we don't say the nation. The Lord don't need your money. We need your money. Y'all act like y'all mad at me for saying that. God, at least I'm keeping it 100. I mean, God, I'm keeping it $150 with y'all mad at you for it. No, we need your money because white folks be charging for them lights and stuff. So look, we want to ask you to give as you feel compelled to give, but if we can get the brothers and sisters to please pass the charity receptacles, and for those of you that have something to give, we certainly would appreciate it. But even if you have a desire to give but don't have anything to give, just know today that your greatest form of charity is your presence here today. So we thank you, brothers and sisters, for your time. Look, brothers and sisters, for those of you that are here, we're going to open the floor for 10 minutes for any questions that you may have had about anything that our brothers had to say. Oh, and by the way, look, before you leave, please support our brothers because they're doing mighty and great work, and it costs for them to travel and do the things that they do. So our brothers and sisters have vending tables set up as you leave today. Please support and patronize our brothers. Also, the mighty MGT, or the Muslim Women in the Nation of Islam, have a fundraiser and they're selling foods today. Do we have some bean pies? Ooh. Man, I don't even know what kind of Muslims y'all supposed to be. Man, I'm really disappointed. I thought they went to church today then. Man, y'all some fake Muslims. But look, I'm highly disappointed with that. But look. Oh, they are in the purchase. Oh, pre-sale, okay. I was even wondering what kind of Muslims y'all was. So look, we're gonna open the floor and for questions. And so at this time, I'll step back 10 minutes and then we'll close out in prayer, okay?
So does anybody have any questions that they'd like to answer? They can be on what we talked about, it can be on business, social media, it can be on any array of topics, any thought processes that run through your mind. And here's the thing about questions. I always say that the question is more important than the answer. Because the right question comes with the energy of the answer. Everything comes with a balance. So, you're supposed to think about in the critical sense, not just take what we gave you, but, take it and make it your own. So the questions allow you to make it your own. So go ahead, good brother.
Who was the supreme Allah before Master Quran?
Okay, so brother will ask the question. You know, you're talking about the creator, you know, and huh? I'm standing up on here, but you got the answer, brother. Come on ahead. You understand?
Well, I know I've heard somebody asked the minister that one time, and the supreme being before the minister was Alfonso, his father, and that supreme wisdom was passed down to his son. So that's what made his son now the supreme being due to the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. So because the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, "Our Savior has arrived," Allah's He was